safety, better lighting, better ventilation, better energy performance, etc. In the Indian scenarios, these industries approximately 15,000 crore at that time, and increasingly regularly 10% annually. It is depend upon the material to material, but approximately 10% yearly it is increased. So we need to consider sincerely on this sector too. And due to the diversified demand, this industry faced some challenge because the customized shape and size, the regular innovations, very rapid innovation is there. And due to this, all the stakeholders of this industry is facing some challenge to fulfill the requirements of the customers. And due to addressing all these issues, BIS has decided to organize this seminar, and all the stakeholders of this industry are here present, like the government agencies, manufacturers, supplier, exporter, importers, and the end users. So I hope कि हम सभी एक दूसरे के ज्ञान से लाभान्वित होंगे। इसके साथ ही मैं आप सभी का फिर से स्वागत करता हूं इस मीटिंग में, and I request Mr. Sanjay Pant to deliver his welcome address speech. Sir.
Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is the second event that we are organizing today. We had in the forenoon one on again similar subject on facade. When we say facade, of course, as an integral part, doors, windows, and of course their associated hardware also find a place in the same thing. It's my great pleasure today to welcome the panelists and the participants. I see the number of participants increasing, including Mr. B. Majumdar Saab, the chairman of Builders Hardware Sectional Committee and former Director General CPWD. Mr. R.K. Kakar Saab is chairman of our Doors, Windows and Ventilators Section Committee CED 11 and former ADG Architecture CPWD, and Mr. J. Roy Chaudhary, our Deputy Director General Standardization, who is looking after all the 14 standardization departments, including civil engineering departments where these standards are formulated. My special welcome is to the MES Builders Association of India, its president Mr. Anil Kapoor Saab, and Mr. Shiv Kumar Gupta ji, and to the president of UDMA, UPVC Windows and Doors Manufacturers Association, Mr. Mario, and to the panelists who are here today from Shakti Hormone Private Limited, of course, UDMA representatives, and Sleek Doors, and then DP Garg and Company Limited. Then we have Door Makaba India Private Limited, and other people who are cooperating in organization of this event in a very successful manner. My own colleagues from BIS, of course, Dr. Manoj Kumar Rajak is very much here. He is leading from the front. Mr. Pradeep Singh Shekhawat, Abhishek, and some of our younger colleagues who have also joined here. So I welcome all of you. I am not sure whether Mr. Roy Chaudhary has joined. As soon as Mr. Roy Chaudhary joins, he is also a civil engineer. Formerly, he was also head of the civil engineering department. He dealt with both these committees on doors, windows, and hardware. So he is deeply involved and understands, and he has a special interest in this particular area. And we have his blessings in whatever we do. It's a close knit cooperation that we very closely and passionately try to develop standards and improve upon the status of things. So only thing in his absence right now, if he joins, we'll welcome him again. And in his absence right now, what we would like to say is that on the front of doors and windows, some of these technical committees I have also handled now long back. So what I see that as Dr. Manoj has mentioned, there's a lot of transformation happening. We started with ledge braced and batten door, and old timers people would know. We thought that the timber in its larger section is not available, so we shifted to panel door so that smaller sections can be used and still you can have a beautiful door. But even that solid wood was not available. Then we shifted to flush doors, and slowly that door materials have changed from wood to other lignocellulosic material, waste-based material, particle board, MDF, and then we have also improved upon, because timber was not available on large girth. So finger jointing of timber was resorted to, where you can get a same strength of timber as the original section. Rather, the joint section is stronger than the original section in finger jointing. So the technology, and which were also permitted in the styles and rails of the doors, and therefore these developments have happened. On the front of these, so what we really started doing, there was a particle board, medium density, light density, heavy density, then there were insulation board, then there were hard board. So many developments were happening. Then there were laminated boards, veneered boards. So many things were happening. So we started incorporating all these materials in different forms. So this is one way of looking at things when we have prescriptive. Now the more important things are what we are seeing today is buildings are now high rises. If you have high rises, you have problem of water tightness, air tightness, lot of wind load. So therefore now the shift is towards performance oriented standards. The same applies to, so that these are safe, and the same applies to even hardware also. We have large number of hardware coming to the country, uninvited, and our own hardware manufacturers are suffering because wide variety and variation and finishes are being incorporated. So which standards cannot cope with. If you want to have a standard for each type of hardware with each type of finish and each type of material, it becomes very difficult to do standardization. So the current trend therefore should be to go for a performance based standards, where if you make a one standard for tower bolt or door handle or hinge, it should cater to whatever the variety, as long as the performance is met. And so with that promise, we wanted to have a brainstorming. So therefore we had this workshop, seminar mode. We wanted to discuss with the stakeholders, the chairman, the important members, the manufacturers, the builders, the various user department. And I see that this number is increasing. Already 150 people have already joined. So I welcome all the participants who have joined and those who are going to join. And with that, I close my address and look forward to very precious deliberations and a lot of takeaway from there. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think we can go ahead. Dr. Manoj or Abhishek, if you are there, or Pradeep. Otherwise, I just would like to help you out. If Mr. Roy Chaudhary is yet to join, our next speaker would be Mr. B. Majumdar.
Yes,
Majumdar Sahab, we look forward to your special address to address on what to guide us as to how the entire, because you have overseen so many projects, in your long span of professional career. So please let us know what is your advice to us to this gathering, and then guide and channelize the discussion today.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay. I'll be talking about what we have been doing in the sectional committee on hardware, and what we have so far. We have been our thinking on this, what we have been doing, and on what lines we need suggestions from this August gathering. You can we will go ahead with it after that we receive. So, as you know, BIS has been publishing standards and particularly on doors and windows hardware for a very long time. Traditionally, these standards have been based on standardization of the type and quality of the materials of manufacture, sizes and all dimensions of the components forming the hardware, method of fixing, packing and marking. Normally, nothing was specified for performance, and it was reasonably presumed that the material quality and dimensions, including thickness and method of fixing, would ensure desired performance. These standards have been serving their purpose very well. Large number of manufacturers adopted the standards. These are widely used in all public buildings and in other quality conscious private constructions and were quite popular. But over the years, very major changes have come up in the field of materials and manufacture of doors and windows, and in the international market, many varieties of manufactured doors and windows have been made available by reputed international companies in all areas, whether it is industrial buildings, public places, commercial places, or housing. These doors and windows are being made available with a large number of new types of hardware and fittings, providing the architects as well as individuals with many choices to opt for. Thus, gradually, people have been switching over to such doors and windows and their hardware. The market for local manufacture with traditional hardware has thus shrunk, and some have even started preferring import over manufacturing. The imported items are generally manufactured in accordance with various international standards, and in absence of any corresponding Indian standards, have found full acceptance. To encourage local manufacture of all items in India, in line with the objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat, BIS has decided to work towards aligning its standards to the international standard. Accordingly, the Sectional Committee on Builders Hardware, CED15, has also been reviewing its various existing standards to align with the international standard practices. In case of hardware, the international standards are mainly oriented to performance criteria. Accordingly, the working committees constituted in CED15 have been working on draft standards based on performance, and to do away with materials and sizes, giving wider scope for manufacturer-user agreement in these matters. While working on and discussing these drafts in the committee meetings, it was keenly felt that a classification system had to be developed for the various aspects of classification and adopted uniformly in all standards and to be used for marking also. Once a set of classification codes are identified, it becomes easy for the manufacturer as well as specifier or buyer to define the products, performance, and applications. Standard sets of codes will be applicable to all types of hardware. The areas identified for inclusion in classification are category of use, whether light duty, heavy duty, etc. Durability specified by number of cycle tests. We have identified 10 grades. Door mass, 7 grades have been considered. Use on fire doors, we have to specify whether 2 grades, whether it is suitable or not suitable. Then closing force, that will have 10 grades. Corrosion resistance, we propose 5 grades for natural salt spray corrosion resistance. Security, 5 grades, each to specify resistance to end load, resulting projection, resistance to sawing time, and resistance to side load. Type of spindle operation, 5 grades for selection of locks with levers. As the performance criteria and the corresponding classification system are new areas in this country, and testing facilities in the country are also limited, we considered it very important that we hold a webinar on the subject and obtain inputs from various stakeholders in the field. I feel confident that the deliberations to today's webinar will prove very fruitful, and the discussions following the presentations will bring out important suggestions for evolving the revised standards. Thank you all.
थैंक यू मजूमदार साहब, आपके इन डेप्थ इंफॉर्मेशन और इंडस्ट्री का एग्जैक्ट एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए। मैं अपने कलीग मिस्टर अभिषेक पाल, आवर यंग एंड डायनामिक मेंबर सेक्रेटरी, एक और आग्रह करता हूं कि आगे आप बागडोर संभालें, और प्लीज मिस्टर अभिषेक पाल, प्लीज मॉडरेट दिस सेमिनार फर्दर। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. And for our next speaker on this, for opening remark, Shri R.K. Kakar is there. Shri, he is R.K. Kakar, sir, is an architect and urban designer with wide and varied experience in the field of public works, having served with the Government of India for upwards more than 35 years, mostly in the building the public infrastructure. He has the master's degree in architecture, gold medal with specialization in urban design from SPA, School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, a premier institute of India. He served in CPWD and superannuated at the level of chief architect. Post-retirement, he continued as a consultant to the CPWD Ministry of Urban Development Consulting and helping monitor the most important and sensitive project of Indian government. So, currently he is an active participant in standardization work of the Bureau of Indian Standard, and he is chairing the sectional committee on standardization of doors, windows, and shutters. Right now, they are all working on performance-based criteria for these doors, windows, and shutters. So, I request Shri R.K. Kakar to give his opening remark. Sir, Kakar sir.
Abhishek and Kakar sir, once again, welcome to you. We look forward to hearing from you. And fortunately, Mr. J. Roy Chaudhary has also joined. After you speak, I would request that Mr. Roy Chaudhary also gives a few words of wisdom after Kakar Saab has given his, opening remarks, especially with regard to doors, windows, and ventilators, where a lot of work is going on. Thank you, Kakar Saab.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pan Saab.
And thank you, Abhishek Pal, for glowing introduction. As Dr. Manoj from BIS stated in his introduction, doors and windows are essential features of the building. Be these are residential, be these are commercial, institutional, or industrial. Now, this fact needs no emphasis before this select gathering of industry stakeholders. Requirements of doors, besides the means of egress and ingress, essentially are privacy, insulation against extremities of weather, fire safety, durability, and durability matching with that of the building. And last but not the least, the aesthetics. Similarly, the windows in a building to perform several functions such as natural light, ventilation, vision, and again the aesthetics. Indian market with respect to doors and windows was traditionally dominated by use of wood, as outlined also by Dr. Majumdar, but has lately evolved to include metals and further to plastics, mainly the UPVC. Evolving technology and innovations are driving the growth in the industry, which is now offering several options to the consumers in both the new construction as well as remodeling of old. Rapid urbanization and resultant construction boom is further giving an impetus to the industry, boosting the demand several times. Acceptance of new trends in this field is likely to shift consumer preference from hitherto common cottage industry to sophistication in manufacture of doors, windows options, boosting in the process the demand for newer alternatives. For an industry to grow and simultaneously inspire confidence amongst the consumers, formulation of performance-based standards is an absolute must. BIS, the body mandated with the purpose, has performed creditably in this direction. It continues to do so under a committee under Civil Engineering Division, CED 11, by evolving new and updating and reaffirming the published standards. As many as 27 standards for all kinds of doors and windows are published, and 9 are at draft stage. Specialized hardware also goes hand in hand with developing new types of doors, windows, and therefore hardware for the new types of doors and windows. And therefore matching work is ongoing in that field by the committee headed by Mr. Majumdar. I take this opportunity to thank the industry for participation and hope for a meaningful dialogue on the subject in this webinar. Please, now I hand over to the member secretary for detailed description of what all is being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Kakar sir, for your word of wisdom. And I'm sure that under your chairmanship, this BIS sectional committee will revise and formulate various new standards and revise with various standards. And many small and medium scale industries will, of course, get benefited. Now, our next speaker, will get the keynote address by our Deputy Director General, Mr. J. Roy Chaudhary. And Mr. J. Roy Chaudhary is a civil engineer by qualification with over 30-year work experience in Bureau of Engineering Standards. He has worked in different capacities in activities of standardization, international relations, product and system certification, and training in BIS. In his present role as DDG, Standardization Products and Methods, he leads the national standardization work in all technology areas, economic sectors other than services sector. He has a long and varied experience in all aspects of standardization at national level, including in promotion and implementation of standards and capacity building activities in related areas. So, sir, please give your keynote address to all the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek Pal. Mr. B. Majumdar, former DG CPWD and chairman of BIS Sectional Committee on Building Hardwares, CED 15. Mr. Kakar, chairman of CED 11, the Sectional Committee of Doors and Windows. Mr. Pant, head of the Civil Engineering Department. Mr. Anil Kapoor, president of the MES Builders Association of India. And Mr. Mario Smith, UDMA, President UDMA, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. It gives me immense pleasure to be amongst you all today on this webinar on doors, windows, and hardware, which is a very important subject as far as civil engineering and building materials are concerned. Of course, a subject which possibly may not receive the attention as is being sort of attracted by many other aspects of a building or various other building components. But nonetheless, it is a very important and a very important area of work which we in BIS carry out. Especially as we know and as has been emphasized by both Mr. Majumdar and Mr. Kakar, that buildings are very essential components in terms of if we are trying to ensure security of a building or in terms of accessibility to a building, towards privacy, leaving alone, of course, not to mention of the performance in terms of ventilation, lighting, or of such issues like energy performance, which we are increasingly putting stress upon. As has also been mentioned, that this industry has evolved over a period of time, and we have migrated from basic wood-based doors and windows, or doors and windows made of steel or metal. We have now migrated more towards lighter materials, more versatile materials, like the use of PVC or fiberglass or aluminum. And so we have different types of fenestration products that satisfy to the various tastes, and as well as provide comfort, long-term use, and of course energy efficiency, solar heat gain, etc., in terms of performance. So today we are in a scenario where there are a lot of developments which are happening, and because the profile of buildings are changing, that we are moving towards more high-rise buildings, necessitates the fact for us to consider issues like performance in terms of air tightness or water tightness or sound insulation, and of course safety against high wind loads, because we are increasingly being exposed to vagaries of nature, including cyclones and super cyclones. And so the problems become accentuated, and we need to focus how, while we are standardizing and developing standards, we keep all these issues in perspective and move ahead towards that. So we are having new materials in which to develop standards, as well as standards that would cover various functional and performance requirements of building, not to mention of safety. I know that extensive work is also being going on, but we need to be more proactive and look into what more needs to be done. The associated area, of course, along with doors and windows, are the hardwares which are associated. And here again, we see a lot of changes, a lot of developments which have happened over the years, and we have new materials coming, replacing the conventional hardwares. And so Mr. Majumdar had very rightly elaborated on some of the aspects on which we need to develop hardware items based on the characteristics that we expect these products to sort of satisfy in terms of quality and performance. So we have products like panic hardwares, stainless steel hardwares, and then of course many others in this area. Newer products are coming, products are getting imported, and therefore there is a huge work which we have to look up to, and which we have to sort of cater to. But before we embark in all this, I think we need to have a proper assessment of the various perspectives and issues which we need to address, and therefore it is very important that we have this sort of interactions through webinars, so that we can elicit the views and sort of draw a roadmap according to which we can take our work forward. BIS of late has been trying to lay more focus on various outreach programs in terms of conducting various webinars and seminars. And I think the COVID pandemic has provided us a wonderful opportunity where we are able to reach out virtually through these webinars to a huge spectrum of audiences across the country, which possibly we would not have been able to do physically by conducting various conferences and seminars. So taking the advantage, we have been carrying out various outreach programs, which sort of gives us a different approach to standardization, in the sense that we look forward to a more proactive method of trying to find out what we need to standardize, instead of waiting for someone to come to us and tell us that this is what we need to do in terms of standards and standardization. So I hope that this seminar, and I should not say that I hope, but I'm certain that this seminar would be able to provide us with very good insights through the interactions that would happen and through the various presentations that would take place subsequently. And we would be able to fulfill our objective of trying to assess and analyze what we need to do in terms of standards and standardization, as I mentioned. So with this, I think we will, I would like to wish the seminar all success, and would hope that we have very fruitful and sort of enterprising interactions in course of today's seminar. Thank you very much, and thank you to all the participants and all the co-hosts and co-organizers who have come together along with BIS, particularly MES Builders Association and UDMA for conducting this webinar and for dwelling upon this very important subject of doors, windows, and its hardware. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roy Chaudhary sir, and thank you for your words for boosting our confidence. Under your leadership, will definitely go ahead in the development of the standards and in this field, especially doors, windows, and hardware. Thank you, sir. Now we'll get a welcome address by President Mr. Anil Kumar, President MES Builders Association of India, Mr. Anil Kumar, Mr. Anil Kapoor. Shri Anil Kapoor is currently president of MES Builders Association of India. MES Builders Association of India is an organization of builders working for military engineering services that is under Ministry of Defense across India, having 74 branches pan-India and a strength of more than 8,000 eminent builders. He has adorned various other offices in this association like Honorary General Secretary, Joint General Secretary, and Honorary Treasurer. So now I request Shri Anil Kapoor to give his welcome address, sir.
Thank you, moderators of today's webinar, Shri Manoj Kumar Rajakji and Abhishekji. Respected Shri J. Roy Chaudhary, Deputy Director General Standardization BIS, Shri Sanjay Panchi, Shri B. Majumdar, Chairman CED 15 Committee, Shri R.K. Kakar, Chairman CED 11 Committee, Shri Mario Smith, President of UPVC Doors and Windows Manufacturers Association, Member Secretary of Sectional Committee, BIS, other distinguished panelists and participants and gentlemen. Good afternoon to everyone. Greetings from MESBI. I welcome you all and thank you for joining us at BIS National Seminar on Doors, Windows, and its hardwares. I would like to thank the management of BIS for giving me opportunity to be amongst you and present my welcome address. I thank Abhishekji for introducing our association to you all. Our members contractors are basically a primary conduit between manufacturers and MES department in fulfilling the infrastructural requirements of defense establishment. At present, MES departments specify the makes of products in its tenders. Contractors have to procure only those items, makes mentioned in the tender. It is one of our major demand with MES department that all the products approved and having BIS certification should be allowed to be freely incorporated in the works. Comprehensive standards which fulfill the requirement of executives on ground can help in doing away of cumbersome approval processes in various departments. This will also give contractors access to an open market for making competitive purchases and give level playing field to the manufacturers in selling their products. Doors and windows are one of the important components of building construction. Apart from fulfilling its operational role, good quality doors and windows also contribute immensely to the aesthetics of the building. Technical presentation by representatives of various esteemed manufacturers of doors and windows will be given today. I hope a very good, healthy discussion will be held and positive results would emerge and all of us would be benefited. I would like to suggest that following key and very basic points be kept in view while drafting new standards or amending the existing standards. The product should be very user friendly. Product should need minimum maintenance. After sales service support should be maintained. Products should match with local architecture and traditions. Product should have maximum life, keeping in view the varied climatic conditions. Product should be cost effective without compromising on quality. I am happy that this seminar is happening today. However, I may leave this seminar in between after some time, because parallelly there is another council meeting of our association going on today. Friends, I'm confident that by the end of the event, we will be successful in our intended goal of upgrading and formulating comprehensive standards for doors, windows, and its allied products. I once again would like to thank all delegates who have spared their valuable time and joined the seminar. I also once again thank the management of BIS for giving me the opportunity to join this eminent industry leaders through this virtual platform. I wish everyone success and fruitful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil Kapoor Sahab, and thank you for your welcome address and of course your suggestions, because I assure you that these committees will consider your suggestion and will develop our standards in this, I mean, for considering your comments also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now our next guest is for inaugural address, Mr. Mario Smith, President, UPVC Windows and Door Manufacturers Association, UDMA. And Mr. Mario Smith is Managing Director of Lingle Windows and Doors Technologies Private Limited. Besides establishing the company in India and making it one of the top 10 companies in India, he has helped in creating new types of windows like smart windows. He is the president of UDMA. His intense knowledge of the product and vast experience in the field has helped foray and make a mark in the market. Shri, Mr. Mario Smith, please.
Very good afternoon to all of you. The panelists, of course, thank you so much for BIS to give us the opportunity to represent today UDMA. UDMA as an association, we have started, I would say, quite early in the year 2007 and 8, got established in the year 2009. And I think for our association, what gives the importance to us that we are a part of the UPVC system. We are also representing the people who are making the products, the doors and windows, and we are representing also the team who is finally installing the doors and windows at site. And from the history of the building material, where everything was purchased in pieces and got assembled to the site, our product, the UPVC product, is a system where we do supply and final product, inclusive of the hardware, glazing everything to the site, and the same team is installing it. This was I would say, a big revolution to the Indian construction industry, because the turnaround time has drastically reduced. Consumer had a one-stop solution, or have now a one-stop solution to contact, and especially what we are talking today, testing and standards. When you talk to an entire industry where we have all the stakeholders, from the technician who is actually really at site and will know what is the best hardware to use, to the person who is fabricating the doors and windows, to the system company who is providing all the raw material, and all is headed under the umbrella of UDMA. I think we have achieved a lot. We are feeling very privileged to be here today on the panel, and I'm really looking forward to have a wonderful afternoon with all of you. Thank you so much, and welcome again to all of you on behalf of UDMA.
Thank you, Mr. Mario, and thank you for telling us about UDMA and talking about the importance of UPVC in doors and windows sections. Thank you, sir. Now, this is all about inaugural sessions. Now we'll go ahead for technical session, and as you know that we are running behind the schedule. So first of all, let me introduce all the speakers first. Our first speaker would be Mr. Pradeep Singh Shekhawat. Shri Pradeep Singh Shekhawat is a civil engineer by qualification with over 8 years of work experience in Bureau of Indian Standards. He has completed his master's in structures from Indian Institutes of Technology, Roorkee. He has vast experience in the field of product certification, quality control, and quality assurance. Presently, he is dealing with the various sectional committees of BIS in the area of wood and lignocellulose boards, doors and windows and shutters, furnitures, etc. He is spearheading the formulation of new series of Indian standard on knockdown furniture, which would be the based on performance area, and this would be the first ever one of its kind in India. And our next speaker would be Mr. Syed Mohammed. Syed Mohammed is a vice president in Shakti Hormone Private Limited. He is having vast experience in the field of doors and hardware. He'll talk about on metal doors, windows, and its hardware. Then Mr. Satish Kumar is there. He is a mechanical engineer with total 24 years of experience, out of which 20 years in the fenestration system, machines, and software technology. Currently, he is a managing director of Deoseno Group of Asia and Australia. He is a member of UTMA and Technical Committee. He is a member of Technical Committee for UPVC Profile Standards for Thailand Institute of Standard, Vinyl Council, Australia. Panelist ke baare mein. And after that, let me introduce all the panelists here. And Mr. Anand Nandarwar is here. He is a Bachelor of Civil Engineering from Nagpur University and Masters of Building Engineer and Management from School of Planning and Architecture. He is currently Scientist F and Head Center for Testing and Evaluation of Wood Composites in Indian Plywood Industries Research and Training Institute, Bangalore, which is the autonomous body of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. About 20 years of experience in research and development related to testing and evaluation of products from wood and other lignocellulosic materials, and development of test method procedure related to testing of panel products. Then our next panelist is Shri Ashok Kumar. He is Chief Scientist and Head Architecture and Planning and Professor in CBRI Roorkee, and his main area of specialization is architecture and planning, other than specialization sub area like sustainable design, green and energy efficient building, green retrofitting, buildings physics, rural planning, IT applications into building science, smart building and cities. He is author of many research papers in various journals, books and technical reports. The next panelist, Professor Dr. Mandeep Singh. He is a presently head industrial design and former dean in SPA, School of Planning and Architecture. He is full-time faculty in School of Planning and Architecture since 1986. In addition to teaching since last 33 years and guiding many design and research projects, he has designed many buildings, urban design and industrial design projects. He won many design awards, notable being part of team member which won first prize of urban design of GGSIPU University, first prize of Hudco competition of low cost housing, etc. Our next panelist is Mr. M.K. Malik. He is Chief Engineer CSQ in CPWD, and he is having vast experience in the field of various planning and design of building and other structures, and construction of building and other structures, and maintenance as well as construction of various structures like flyover and others. So now, thank you. These are all well panelists. Now we'll start with the technical session of. Overview of BIS and Indian standards on doors, windows, and its hardware. I welcome Mr. Pradeep Singh Shekhawat for this. And sir, you have 15 minutes, sir. Please.
Okay, technical session start करने से पहले I hand over to this technical session to our panelist. Our main panelist is the B Majumdar Saab, chairman of CED 15, Shri R.K. Kakar Saab, chairman of CED 11 of BIS, Dr. Mandeep Singh sir, Dr. Ashok Kumar sir, Dr. Diwakar sir, and Dr. Anand Andarwar sir. Sir, now this floor for you, and please moderate this technical session. Thank you. Mr. Pradeep Singh Sekawat ji, now you.
Thank you, Manoj sir and Mr. Abhishek for the introductory remarks and giving me opportunity for this technical session. So I now first start sharing my PPT on this screen. So is it visible? Yes. Now I start with. In this my presentation, I cover mostly about the BIS, especially what is the origin of BIS, how BIS works, and what are the Indian standards related to today's topic: door, windows, and their hardware. So now in starting, standardization in India. Actually, for every good practices, there is a need of standardization. So standardization in India started with the establishment of Indian Standards Institution in 1947 before independence. Then after Bureau of Indian Standard came into existence through an act of parliament dated 26 November 1986 on 1st April 1987 with the broadened scope of more powers taking over the staff, assess liabilities, functions, and erstwhile of ISI. So now the genesis of BIS. So if as you see in the slide, first Institute of Engineers India acting as the Indian Committee of British Standard Institute since 1919. It means before independence. Then after that, Government of India passes a resolution on 3rd of September 1946 for establishment of ISI, that is Indian Standards Institution. Indian Standards Institution, that is Presider of Bureau of Indian Standards, set up on 6 January of 1947. After that, the new scheme came into the existence, that is ISI Mark Product Certification Scheme under ISI Mark Certification Act 1952. As you all very much know or aware about the ISI mark. It is a well-reputed, popular, and renowned symbol in the field of quality control, quality aspect. We all aware about the importance of ISI mark. So this ISI mark journey started in 1955-56 year. Then after Bureau of Indian Standard came into the picture, with the new name, ISI came into the picture with the new name Bureau of Indian Standard. It is a national standard body. It is established on 1st April 1987 under BIS Act as a statutory body. A new Bureau of Indian Standard Act notified on 22nd March has been brought into force with effect from 12th of October 2017. The Act established the Bureau of Indian Standard as a national standard body. So after this Act, it is valid that and legal that the Bureau of Indian Standard is the national standard body of India. Okay. Now we go the major activities of BIS. Generally, most of the people know about the activities about standard formulation, product certification, nowadays compulsory registration scheme in electronic gadgets, and hallmarking scheme. But BIS is working various different type of activities and play an important role to boost our Indian economy and Indian market, Indian infrastructure of India. So these are the major activity of BIS. First, standard formulation, in which we formulate a standard product certification scheme, in which we grant the license ISI under ISI mark. Compulsory registration scheme, it means most of the electronic gadgets like laptop, mobile are come under compulsory registration scheme. Foreign manufacturer certification scheme, in which BIS granted throughout world license to foreign manufacturers who are willing to send their products to India. We have laboratory services We have different labs, BIS owned labs, in which we have good test facility. We have laboratory recognition scheme. We have in which we recognize the laboratory. We have promotional activities, consumer affairs activities. We have one training institute in Noida itself, in which we give the training to our national as well as international delegates. Now, area of standardization. So total in 16 technical departments, we are working in different area and sector of standardization. So in the first, as you know, civil engineering department, then chemical department, electrotechnical department, electronics and information technology department, food and agriculture department, management and system department, mechanical engineering department, medical equipment, hospital planning department, metallurgy department, petroleum, coal and related products department, production journal engineering department, service sector department. These SSD1 and SSD are newly created department. Now BIS also working in the field of standardization in the service sector also. It's a good news for our country that BIS now started work in the standardization in the service field also. We have textile department, transport engineering department, and water resource department. So now I came to the civil engineering department because we are more focusing here the standard formulate related to doors and windows. These come under the civil engineering department's review. How we work under civil engineering department? We have civil engineering divisional council, under which these sectional committees are formulated. We have at present 36 sectional committees, like CED 15 and CED 11 are also a sectional committees. Under 36 sectional committees, we have 33 subcommittees, then 62 panels, and 134 working groups. Total number of members involved in these all type of that work under CEDC is 3,210, and it's good the significant number that we have formulated total number of 1,768 standards in under CED Council. So I want to like to highlight one thing that as you see the hierarchy that someone says ki is 62 134 working groups work under 62 panels. No, like in CED 11 there are 6 working groups work directly under sectional committee, and these working groups actively work and work in the field of development of standards related to door and windows, especially performance based standards. Earlier we have mostly standards on material base. Now the overall worldwide scenario is changing and everybody is focusing on the performance and safety. So now our standards also we are trying to update our standards or modify as per latest technologies and latest demands. So we are working in the direction of performance-based standards. So as I said that we have sectional committees under CEDC. So as you see on my slide that we have sectional committees on cement, sanitary, building line, floor, wall, structural engineering, timber. So I highlighted this CED 11 and CED 15 because we are discussing only now discussing only about the CED 11 and CED 15. The other 60 other sectional committees are firefighting, fire safety, structure safety, earthquake engineering, waterproofing, soil foundation, national building code, rock mechanics, plastic piping system, seas, hill area, cyclone resistant, smart cities. We are also formulating standard on the smart cities. Now, sorry. Now you see the composition of sectional committee. How these sectional committee work and who are the technical members who are involved in the formulation of these standards. So if you see this figure, you find that there is one chairman either from independent body or in personal capacity. Then member secretary from BIS. Other than member secretary and chairman, they are representative from manufacturers, laboratories, R&D institutions, government regulatory body, consumer organizations, industry associations, public sector units, consulting firms, and professional and academic bodies like IITs, NITs, etc. So we have a good team and a knowledgeable team having vast experience in the particular area for which we are going to formulate, and we are formulating the Indian standards. So how standard development process works? This slide show complete how we work under the committee after getting the whole composition. First, new work item proposal came to the put up to the either by manufacturer or consumer organization or any stakeholders who wants to develop the or wants to standard on their product or test method or any code of practice. So now new work item proposal came to BIS. Then after this new work item goes to the committee members, then committee member studied that new work item and discuss on the same. After that, the committee prepares a P draft, that is preliminary draft, on getting the whatever they get the information from the person who or organization who provide a new work item, or whatever the information they already having with their own. The pre-draft now then circulated within the members of the committee or working group also, or sectional committee. If there's a panel, will be then circulate within the panel of the members, panel members. Then we received the comment from the committee members, panel member, working group members, and then again the meeting will the meeting organized, and the comments will discuss, and there will be discussion in between the members about that preliminary draft or whatever the comment received. After that, the committee decided to wide circulate that draft. Wide circulation means then the draft will go to the go to the public domain. Then anybody in the public domain can access this draft and comment on their basis of their knowledge and what this draft affect their manufacturing or their testing, etc. After comment received, then we organize again sit and discuss with the comment in the sectional committee meeting and finalize the draft. After finalizing, there are some editorial process in which we edit the standard in the Indian standard format. We have defined Indian standard format. After formatting, the standard goes to Gazette of India for Gazette notification. After Gazette notification, the final India standard we have having in our hand, that we call with some IS number like IS 456 or any other IS number. So this is the whole process and whole activity, and whatever the volume of work involved in this total involved in the process of development of any good technical sound Indian standard. So now I came to the CED 11. What is the CED 11? CED 11 is the Door, Windows and Shutters Sectional Committee. The scope of this committee is standardization in the field of door, windows, ventilator and shutters of any material. We have also licensed with the international committee, that is ISO TC 162. We are the observing member in ISO TC 162. ISO TC is door, window and the curtaining walls technical committee. We have under CED 11, we have till date, we have now formulated 27 Indian standards, in which product specification are 22, code of practice 2, method of test 1, terminology 1, other 1, which I will elaborate in the next slides. Sorry. Now, I bifurcate all the segregate all the standards in the material base, because at present we have material based Indian standards mostly. So for related to timber, wood and bamboo door, window shutters, we have standards IS 1003 part 1, part 2 for timber is specification of timber panel glazed shutters, IS 2191 wooden door flush door shutters, IS 2191 part 2 wooden flush door shutters, particle board, board face panels, IS 2202 part 2 part 1 solid core type wooden flush door shutters, IS 4021 timber doors, 4913 code of practice, 6198 specification of large base batten timber door shutters, IS 15308 molded resin high density fiberboard panel doors, IS 1073 bamboo jute. We have also standard related to bamboo jute composite panel door shutter. So we are working in different area. We are covering with wood and lignocellulosic products, bamboo. Now Government of India promoting bamboo. We are also working in this direction of motive of the Government of India. We have test methods for most of the door shutters Now the Indian standard related to metal door window shutters. So a specification of steel doors, windows, a code of practice specification of steel windows, industrial building, a specification of aluminium window for industrial building, steel door frames, steel flush door shutters. We have two standards related to GRP or UPVC doors, GRP panel type door shutters, solid panel type UPVC form door shutters. We have other standards related to symbolic designation, direction of closing, facing of door, faces of door, window shutter, which is also a very important standard in terms of symbolic design. We have one glossary related to standard related to doors and windows. Now, what is the ongoing work? It is very important slide because now we are working in the direction of new innovative material. Like we are working regularly working in the formulation of standard related to UPVC profile for door and window, which is now quite popularized in the market. We are also in the revision of the flush door, wooden flush door standards, revision of steel door and steel door frames as per latest technology adopted by different industries and reputed manufacturer in India. And one is the most important. I want to highlight that we are also now in the process of formulating of a standard performance based, especially test method like air permeability, water tightness. At present, this type of standard not available in India, and most of the most reputed industries are using the international standard. So we think that India is also must have the standard related to these types of test methods. So now the next committee is the Builder Hardware Sectional Committee. The scope of the committee is standardization in the field of builders hardware such as door, window, furniture fittings like hinges, handles, sliding bolt, door closer, floor, spring, panic hardware, etc. Total 42 standards are already formulated in under this committee. Product specific, all are the product specification. It means the product conforming standards. So now I segregate these standards by product wise. So we have these standards 205, 206, 362, 453, 1341 steel butt hinges, which is very popular standard in India for hinges. So we have a standard on piano hinges, we standard on the stainless steel butt hinges. Now we have also this standard on this product. So on tower bolts, we have two standard 204 part 1, part 2, door handles 208, 49492, door bolts 4281, 2681, 15834, sliding door bolts, stay fasteners, plastic windows 10019, mild steel stays 452, door closers. India standard related to door stopper rim latches. So what is the most important thing is ongoing work. So we are working under the chairmanship of Sri Majumdar sir and under the member secretary of Shri Hudson sir and Manoj sir. They are taking efforts for making a standard good as per technology, latest technology on the formulation standard related to panic exit hardware, pull handles, stainless steel handrails, stainless steel door stoppers, revision of IS already existing IS on door handles, SS drops, and SS butt hinges. One thing also I want to highlight that now in a good initiative, now BIS make all indigenous standard available free to download to everyone. What you can do, you just what I show in my slide, that you just go to this website. I have also shown the website https standard.bis.bsbedge.com. You just go to this website and make your login account, and free to you have access to download all the standards. And my request to all the stockholders to study or go through these standards so that you can also give your inputs to BIS in the formulation of Indian so that a standard can formulate as per latest technology advancement, etc. So this is my presentation. Thank you everybody for listening my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep. This is a very good presentation, and in the short time you explain everything about the BIS and the two main committees, CD11 and CD15, what is going on in this committee, what the innovative sectors, new standard we are developing. Thanks, Pradeep. Uh, I request panel members, if the panel member permitted, then we will welcome our next speaker. Okay, we invite our next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Pal. Please introduce the next speaker.
Our next speaker in line, Mr. Syed Muhammad. Mr. Syed Muhammad is a vice president in Shakti Hormone Private Limited. He is having vast experience in the field of doors and hardware. He will talk about, he'll give his presentation about metal doors, windows, and its hardware. Mr. Syed Ahmed, sir, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we will see your screen, sir. Sir, go ahead.
Able to, yeah, 1 second. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to welcome you all back again for the first presentation, which I'm going to make on the steel doors or the metal doors or the HMPS doors. I'll also like to welcome all the panelists and the participants who have taken their precious time to be part of this entire presentation, which we're going to have today. So to begin with, I would like to ask the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about a steel door. You know, you take a moment and think about what steel door means to you, because we feel that end of the day, this particular product has not been properly propagated or represented in the industry. And most of the time, if you see many of the specifications which you see in the BOQ or the tenders, you'll not find this particular standard being reflected on and on. Like especially if you talk about IS 4351, IS 4351 2003 was the steel door frame which was introduced in the year 2003. And if you go into the brief history of the scenario in 2003, people used to use a metal frame with a wooden shutter. Okay, but the industry and the complete scenario has changed. In 2013, the Bureau of Indian Standard also realized that there's a need to have a standard for the shutters, because there are a lot of door manufacturers who are making different types of doors, both with the frame and the shutter as a complete assembly. So they thought of coming up with this particular standard called 16074. So if you ask me, as far as the product is concerned, you'll not find majority of the specification, even for the hollow metal door, they'll never refer to this 16074. For some reason, maybe we have not propagated it or people are not aware of it. So the entire process of, you know, making sure that people start taking this particular product as an alternative for the various options available, I think it would be a beginning of this after this presentation. Apart from this, I would like to highlight some of the point that the entire construction industry has changed in terms of the way the wall has been constructed, the kind of doors which you're going to use it in a building, because you've got multiple options available, as rightly pointed out by the director and the chairman, that there are multiple options available, and there's a need to improve the performance of the product, or have come up with a product which is more performance oriented rather than specification oriented. Okay, so with this presentation, I would like to take you further insight into this. First of all, I'd like to tell you that today we are going to talk about majorly about the wall opening, the frame, the shutter. Now you may ask that why is that, what is this wall opening is all about? Because end of the day, if you take any particular standard, for that matter, it starts either with the frame size or the shutter size. It doesn't talk about the wall opening. So I just want to create a kind of a relationship, because end of the day, most of the specification or the architects or the consultant, they always talk about the wall opening and not about the frame size or the shutter. Of course, we will talk about door hardware in relation to steel doors, just to give you a feel and touch of how it works. Otherwise, there's a separate presentation which Mr. Sandeep Garg is going to take later in the day. And I would not like to focus too much onto the door hardware, just I'll touch base and make sure that you understand what is what. So moving forward, as I rightly wanted to give you a brief on what is a wall opening width, because if you talk about any construction site, you know, end of the day, you're trying to put a door based on certain criteria. The criteria here could be application related or a user related or a performance related. Okay, so this is what it actually defines what kind of product and what kind of door you're going to use it in a building. And this is something which I would like to showcase, or maybe, you know, give a brief how the international practice is being followed, because that is something which is missing in the current standard, which I'll also showcase it at the end of the presentation so that you understand how you select the right door for a right application. Yeah. Apart from this, as I told you that Normally, a frame opening is always defined by width and height. Similar is the case with the shutter width, but the industry practice is to talk about more about the wall opening width and height. I just give you a line reference just to understand and bring into a groove that we are all in the same page. You know, when I talk about wall opening, frame width, you might like to know what was the earlier practice. People used to use steel lugs to, you know, anchor the frame onto the wall. But today the technology has changed. There are different types of wall being brought into the construction material, building material. There are walls which are concrete, brick. There are different types of bricks available. So here's a frame which we can be actually anchored onto the various types of construction openings. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is that what is the difference between a wall opening width and the frame width? Wall opening width always talks about the structural opening, and the frame opening width is the minus tolerances, whatever is required to push the frame inside and install the door. As again and again, we will talk about this performance oriented, because this is something which, if you take any particular standard, there are certain standard which talks about a particular size of the frame. That is purely for a reference, because there are different types of frames which is available, pressed frames, and then you've got profile frames. But end of the day, there are only two things that matter, is that what is the wall opening width and what is the clear passage. So the frame profile might change from manufacturer to manufacturer. So is the shutter width. So the shutter width cannot be defined that you have 800 mm, 900 mm, and 1000 mm, because it's not possible, because it all depends upon what kind of wall opening you're looking at and what is the clear passage you're looking at, because NBC talks about clear passage. It doesn't talk about wall opening. So this to give you a brief and to bring you into the subject to understand what exactly the steel doors and frames about. Now, we'll get into the standard as far as the steel door standard is concerned, 4351. It talks about different types of frames and profiles, and basically the material what is recommended in the standard is mild steel and galvanized steel as well as stainless steel. It is available in various gauges and thickness, which has been recommended by the standard. And I will also talk about this later in the slides. Why is it that we have got multiple options when it comes to the frame? There may be reasons related to the performance. It may be related to the application and the kind of usage you're going to it. As the industry is changing, there are different types of profiles. There are profiles which is without groove, and there are profiles which is also with groove, because now people are talking about airtightness and your water ingress. You know, they want to control those kind of things. So obviously there are multiple solutions available in steel. Steel per se, you know, it has been totally misrepresented, and people get a very different idea when it comes to use of steel in the interior of a building. I will showcase some of the extreme cases where this product has been used, and you'll appreciate the fact that this is something which actually we have not presented it properly to the industry, especially the construction industry. So these are some of the frame profiles which is available. This is some of the frame profiles. I'm sure there are many options which is available, because as I said that it could be design oriented. Most importantly, what you need to understand is there's a difference between a product and a custom made product, you know. And as far as the steel doors is concerned, it's purely considered to be more like a custom made product, because you're talking about a wall opening. It doesn't mean that you have got multiple sizes of wall opening, obviously not. But the thing is that the product changes not only based on the wall opening, but based on the application, based on the performance, based on the infill material, based on the kind of vision panel you're going to have it, or maybe based on the hardware. So what I'm trying to make you understand is that hollow metal door per se cannot be a product by itself. It could be a complete system which has to be integrated in a particular opening, which could be custom made. So this is something which you need to keep in mind. And these are the different types of frame assembly which is available. Now, earlier when you talk about a steel frame, you get profiles, you just cut it at side and you weld it, or probably if you're talking about a wooden frame, then you have got a different scenario. But these steel frames, normally they're supplied in a knockdown assembly. So it means that it's easy to transport and it occupies very less logistic space. But at the same time, you can assemble it at site with multiple options available, like you've got a 45-degree cut frame, you've got butted assembly or a welded assembly. Secondly, one more thing which I would like to highlight here is that frames normally come in two profiles, or maybe many, but these are the most commonly profiles which is used. One is a single rebate profile and the other one is a double rebate profile. What is a single rebate profile? So if you see this particular image, most of them are double rebate profile. Yeah, this is a double rebate profile. This is a double rebate profile. But if you have the frame running, the steel running like this, probably it is called a single rebate profile, which obviously this particular frame is single rebate profile. So the next thing is that we'll get into what are the kind of precaution we need to say, because when you talk about a steel frame, the biggest thing the first thing that comes to your mind is how the hardware is mounted onto that, because you know that in wood you have got some kind of a mass so that you can put any kind of wooden screw and you can tighten the hardware. But when it comes to the steel, normally steel frames are basically comes with lot of reinforcements and what I should say, the preparation that is done to make sure that whatever the hardware has been identified for that particular application can be mounted with screws, no welding. Okay, this is one important feature of a steel frame, is that, okay, all that hardware that goes onto the door has to be predefined and predetermined so that it can be prepped in the factory, so no work is done at site. So when the frame leaves the factory, it comes in a complete finished, either in primer or painted or whatever color you're looking at. So if you see, there is a kind of a preparation, recessed preparation, which is made inside the frame to take the hinges. Apart from that, you also have a back plate which is given on the frames at various intervals to make sure that you're able to mount it onto the wall with some kind of an anchor based on whatever the wall material is. I mean, whether it's a hollow brick or a brick or a concrete, the anchors keeps changing. Then when it comes to what kind of protection you're going to provide to make sure that, when you pour some kind of a cement slurry or maybe a puff inside the frame, once it is installed on the wall opening, basically, all the hardware preparation which is made onto the frame also comes with kind of a guard, motor guard, so that if you're pouring some kind of a liquid slurry inside the frame, it doesn't get into the holes of the screws, which is meant for taking that particular product or maybe that particular plate, which is to be mounted at the time of installation. So this is just to give you a feel of what kind of detailing and perfection that needs to be done. Now, the biggest challenge here is that though we have created something onto the frame in terms of the hardware preparation, how do you make sure that this is matching with the shutter? Unlike wood, it is possible because obviously you will install the wooden shutter and you can also chisel out whatever the cutouts you need to make it normally. And I think people even in wooden doors, they have moved away, like, they are supplying the frame and the shutter all factory finished. So how do you make sure that when it is a steel frame and a wooden shutter, so this is the only possibility that the wooden shutter is gone to the site and you are able to measure it, whatever be the requirement, and they make a standard provision for taking that particular hardware, the lock or the hinges according to the frame. But you will not get that kind of a consistency which a factory finished shutter will give you. So I'll take you further inside this particular presentation. There are a lot of dependencies when you come about frames, when you talk about frames. What kind of dependencies we are talking about? One is that, of course, we are talking about the wall depth. One is the wall opening, the other one is the wall depth. There are 6-inch wall, 5-inch wall. There are different types of wall depths which is available. So you need to have some idea about what kind of wall depths you're looking at and what kind of architrave or whether is smoke seal is required in the frame or not, or you just wanted to have a double egress kind of a frame. So all these things you need to understand before you design what kind of frame you're going to provide. Apart from that, what kind of shutter it is going to take? Is it going to be wood or steel? If it is wood or steel, what is the thickness of the shutter? So these are certain things, because once the steel frame is press brake, you cannot do it. It has to take that kind of a product. That's it. There's no two ways about any alteration, unlike a wooden door or a wooden frame where there is a possibility that you can always chisel. I'm not talking about the pre-engineered wood. I'm talking about a normal, our traditional way of doing things. Okay. So when you talk about frame rebate, where shutter is mounted, it also we need to know what kind of thickness it's being prepared for. Apart from this, there are a lot of hardware that goes onto the frame, so we need to understand what kind of models or what kind of what is the make of that particular product. Is there any template that needs to be followed? Because we are talking about consistency in manufacturing, because this is not one single frame and one single shutter which is being manufactured. It is about understanding the entire requirement, documenting it in a manner that, when the product reaches the site, your performance is totally dependent on the kind of installation you're going to do. As far as the product is concerned, you can be rest assured that, you don't find any deviation unless you have already made a mistake in the complete preparation of the kind of hardware you're going to take onto the tower. So this is something very important as far as the frame is concerned. Apart from that, you also need to make sure that the fasteners, what you're going to use onto mounting the hardware onto the frame is also equally important, because you cannot use wooden screws on a metal surface. Similarly, there are certain hardware where the preparation is made in the factory. There are certain hardware where you make the preparation at site, like a door closer, surface mounted door closer. You make a hole at the site based on the template. You use the kind of screws and fasteners that required to mount a door closer. Then apart from that, you also need to make sure that the right anchors are being supplied along with the frame. So which means that when you're talking to the purchaser, you also need to understand what kind of construction he's making and what kind of brick or the final wall surface they are going to provide, so that we are able to send the right kind of anchor along with the frame as a package. Yeah. There are certain advantages which we'd like to highlight as far as steel frames are concerned. First of all, it's the most important and predominantly faced issue is of that of termites, especially in the northern part of the country. So people always would like to go for steel frames with wooden shutters. This is the general practice which is being followed. And slowly people are moving away in terms of a complete assembly where they're looking for a steel frame with steel shutter also. So this is one of the reasons. Apart from this, you don't have to really worry about the moisture content, the expansion, contraction, and the material quality, because you're talking about a steel per se. Whether, of course, the BIS also talks about mild steel and galvanized steel. I think majority of the industry players, I mean, organized door manufacturers, they don't touch mild steel for making steel doors anymore, for a simple reason that they're looking at a performance-oriented product, a product which can last for the life of the building, whether it be 20 to 30 years. So that kind of product, it is possible when you look at materials like galvanized steel or maybe stainless steel. Apart from that, you also need to understand that one important feature which we would like to highlight is that when you talk about some 2,000 doors, 3,000 doors in a building apartment, you need to have a lot of consistency. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll not be able to get the kind of aesthetics and level and lines all across the building. So this is one thing which can be rest assured that, whether it is 200 doors or 600 doors, you'll be able to give a lot of consistency in the manufacturing or the deliverable of the product. Apart from that, of course, steel per se is robust, so we don't have to define too much about the performance of the steel. It can take multiple designs, as I showcased that they can make different types of frames. You can make with seal, without seal. There are many options which is available. And lastly, but not the least, is that it is also easy to install. If your opening is ready in a day, you can install many frames with the anchors, because you're just plumbing it against the wall depths, and you're just trying to make sure that the water levels are correct, and you're installing these frames with anchors. So the productivity and the construction methodology improves. So one important feature is that the entire transition from the conventional method of preparing an opening and then putting the frame before the shutter is installed has completely changed, wherein you have come to a stage wherein your flooring is completed, your plastering work is done, and you have got the metal putty already some kind of putty is placed to make sure that you get the first rough surface, and then you install the frame. So this is one singular advantage which you get with the steel frames. Let's get on to the steel shutter, because as he said that there's a standard 16074 which talks about steel leaf or shutters, which does not include frame, because obviously there is a standard which is a separate standard for frames. There also we'll find that we'll have multiple materials which has been defined, which can be used for manufacturing a door. Also pre-coated steel is an addition there, because that's not used in frames, but definitely it has been mentioned in the standard. Also comes with different thicknesses, what kind of shutter you're going to make it, whether it is with 1.6 mm and 1.2 mm and 0.8 or 0.6. When you talk about the shutter, it's one thing that comes to your mind is that what is the basic construction. So normally this is called sandwich panel shutters or double skin shutter. Basically it has got two skins of steel, and in between you have an infill material. This infill material depends upon what kind of product you're looking for. Are you looking for a fire door? Are you looking for just a normal multi-purpose hollow metal door? Or you're looking for a lead line door? Or maybe you're looking for an acoustic door? So the infill material will change according to your performance requirement. And the thickness can also vary. So obviously the standard doesn't talk about any particular standard thickness, but we recommend that, okay, there should be a standard also, the thickness should be mentioned, because your hardware preparation is all dependent on the thickness of the shutter. So normally internationally they mention it as 3x4 inch, which is nothing but 44 mm. So this is what the shutter thickness starts, and it goes up to 60 mm also based on the kind of shutter you're making. So we have this honeycomb core paper, which is nothing but it's a resin bonded paper. You can just stretch it and glue it onto the surface, and it gives you a lot of structural rigidity in terms of the flatness and the surface of the sheet, but it doesn't add any weight to the door. The important feature of this particular product is that, of course, it does not add any weight to the door. because steel per se, this is also a kind of a misconception that steel doors are heavy and people cannot use it. I'll showcase some of the images which we have installed in school, children's school in India, where people have used steel doors. So the steel has found a lot of penetration into various segments as a door. So apart from that, you have got mineral wool, is something which is another infill material which is normally used for insulation or for some other criteria, like it could be related to acoustic. Then we have got something called steel stiffened. Steel stiffened doors are a little bit different when compared to the other two material, because steel stiffened is basically you're trying to make a door which is structurally more stronger in terms of the strength, and not for the burglary purpose, but definitely to make sure that you can use it in external periphery, like you have got metro, where you're not going to guard these doors, or we don't know who is going to mishandle these doors. So those kind of situations, you'll always look out for a product which is steel stiffened, which means you'll be running a steel stiffener at 150 mm all across inside the shutter. And apart from that, you have got polyurethane foam as an alternative infill material. You have got polystyrene foam. So there are many manufacturers, they have got their own infill material apart from this. So I don't want to get into it. Just to give you a feel that how the door construction is there and what kind of detailing in terms of hardware preparation is made onto the door. This is what I think will give you a clear picture that when you talk about a door, unlike steel wood, steel has got certain requirements, like you have to prepare a lock guard box, or maybe a door closer pad has to be provided to as a reinforcement, or you have to provide a hinge backplate so that the hinges can be mounted onto the shutter. So these are certain internal construction detailing which is required. It has got one more significant advantage, because normally when you take a wooden thing and you make some kind of a cutout, actually you're weakening the profiles, okay, or the shutter. But when it comes to steel, actually it's the other way around. You're actually strengthening the profile, because you have, whatever cutout you're making, you're also giving a reinforcement there. So basically, if you see, this is the shutter, and of course, this is a steel door which is 2.1 meter height, and it's hanging on 2 hinges. And this is purely for an internal application. It can work on even 2 hinges. And this is the kind of construction what you will make to make sure that the bolts are being through bolting, so that the lever handle, it doesn't hang. That is something which is a common problem, whether it be a lever handle or a pull handle. After some time, they start hanging. So make sure that this is what door manufacturer has to keep in mind, that of course making door is one part, and how do you make sure that it is applied or installed properly in a manner that it becomes a part of the product and lasts long. So this is a product which shows you various type of provisions has been made. Of course, one of them is that louver has been provided onto this particular door. So we'll get into those details also, like what kind of provisions you can make. You can make a vision panel cutout, you can make a louver cutout. So these louvers are side proof, which means you cannot peep in. Unlike wooden doors, you see that, okay, agar aap dikhna cha rahe ho, you can still peep in. But these louvers are side proof louvers. Then you have got vision panel, which is with reinforcement, so that whatever cutout you are making inside the shutter, you're not weakening the overall structural rigidity of the door or the performance of the door. So basically, you're giving more reinforcements, and it comes with a very sleek, clean clip-on arrangement kind of a vision panel. Of course, when it comes to a double door, you need to make sure that the gap between 2 active shutters and the inactive shutter is not see-through, so you provide also an integral astragal. So what I would like to highlight here is that the steel door industry, steel door manufacturing industry has come a long way in terms of product design and manufacturing itself. There's a long way. I mean, of course, 30-40 years back, this was being followed in countries like United States and UK. And those people have actually mastered the manufacturing of hollow metal doors, and we're just following it. But definitely, if you ask me, this is something which is a right move in terms of creating an alternative material which is available for various public buildings and government organizational projects, government-sponsored projects. Apart from this, when you talk about hardware preparation, I would also like to showcase an image wherein, what kind of lock fixing arrangement has been shown. This is a real-time picture where you could see that the cutout is actually made in the factory with a lot of reinforcements and provision for taking the screws also. So you're not even sitting there and drilling a hole to make sure that the screws are going in. So you can remove this screw and you can replace the lock. You yourself can do it. You don't need any kind of a mastery or expertise. If you understand how you handle the screwdriver, probably you should be able to do it yourself. So this is something which is very interesting when it comes to the steel door and steel frames. What is important here is all about consistency, because if you make a mistake in your manufacturing template, your door frame will never match at site. So obviously the certain precaution has to be taken so that, when you're manufacturing a frame and shutter, all the hardware, when it goes to the site, if we are using the right frame and the right shutter, the hardware should go dead on. There's no chiseling, there's no, what do you say that, normally the standard practices people see to say that, okay, adjust the hardware to make sure that it gets into the locking arrangement or like that. That is not required as far as the steel doors. And so this is another door which has been showcased here, which is a louvered door, normally used for transformer rooms. Yeah. Here also you'll find a lot of dependencies, because as I rightly said that, whether it be a frame and shutter, when it comes to steel, they have to go along. There's no two ways about it, because there's so much of planning which is done. Like, let's assume that you're buying a frame from A and you would like to use a shutter later in the day, or maybe later from B or C. It might not be possible because the templates, of course, will never match, or until unless the guy provides that, okay, that this is the level at which I have made a hinge cutout and this is the level at which I have made the lock cutout. So it's not possible. So maybe we should also look at that, how do we make this as a standard for one single product, because this is how the product will look when you have it as a complete assembly. There's another thing which I would like to highlight here is that about the various types of applications and infill material, I have already spoken about this, and the kind of hardware preparation what you're going to make it onto the door. So these are standard, whether it be a frame or shutter, more or less it is have to be defined. Let's look at what are the critical key advantages of a steel shutter. Of course, one is termite proof. Important feature is that they look beautiful when they're factory finish, and you can get it in multiple finishes. Now that the industry has evolved, you will get steel doors in wood finishes and various laminated finishes also. So this is another important milestone which I think the door industry has achieved. Apart from that, you'll get a very robust construction. This is something which most of the people have failed to understand, that I have never come across a scenario where people complain about the failure of the door. It could be a failure of a hardware, because hardware does have a life cycle and some limitations. You can always replace it. You don't need any specialized carpenter to come there and salvage the door, or you make a special fresh provision into the door. This is not required, because these are all predefined and pre-punched in the factory. You just remove the hardware component and put it back in the same location with the right kind of screws. So that's the kind of flexibility it provides. Apart from that, one of the last and the most important, which I feel that it should be, everyone should know, is that these products are very low on maintenance and they're very long life in terms of usage also, because it can take any kind of abrasion as far as because door is only is one of the most abused component in the construction or a building, because most of the people use, and it's a moving element. When compared to any other, you talk about wall, until unless I go and scratch the wall, they won't get but this is something, every day in day, different kind of people use it. You don't know the guy who's using the door even knows what kind of hardware has been put and how to use that hardware. So this is the challenges which normally doors, steel doors, or for that matter, any door will have. So let's get on to the applications. Steel door, as I said, that one is, as far as the construction is concerned, we have already seen that what are the challenges and what we need to look at it when it comes to the frame and shutter, but we also need to understand where is it being used. Now steel is being used, steel doors are being used in clean room doors, that is especially in the pharmaceutical companies. The majority of the pharmaceutical companies that's there in the industry, they use clean room doors, which is made out of steel, because they talk about some class 1000, class 10,000 kind of a quality requirement. So obviously they use steel as one of the material for doors. You also talk about the majority of the fire doors which is used in the country, they're majorly made by steel. People used to have wooden fire doors, but they have migrated from wooden fire doors to steel fire doors for multiple reasons, not one reason, multiple reasons. One is that, okay, it has got a longer durability, and it can take any kind of hardware you need. It can also have a very good kind of different kind of finishes. And most importantly, you can be rest assured about the quality and the performance of the product, because the sheets and the thicknesses, the construction, the infill, everything is predefined. So that's one important feature about steel fire doors. Then you have got acoustic doors, which is also available. where people you want to have some kind of acoustic, especially for the conventional centers, people have started using acoustic doors, which is made out of steel. Glazed doors, I don't have to tell you, because now it's a trend that people start using a lot of glazing and glass into the building. And they want one alternative is, of course, you have a steel, but when it comes to a fire-rated glazed door, you cannot use aluminum. You will go for a steel. So this is one product which you can also look at when it comes to steel. And this is something which is the latest development, is that last 2-3 years, people have started using steel doors in the entrances of the building or the apartment. So, and this product, it looks like real wood, until unless someone tells them that, okay, this is not wood, this is steel. It also comes with multiple finishes. So obviously there's a lot of flexibility which has been provided. So apart from this, there are a lot of other applications which I cannot, I don't have time to complete those kind of thing, but definitely I can tell you that it is used for multiple applications like lead line doors, utility doors, you name it, people have started using steel as a product. What is good thing is that it has been accepted as a product in the interior. This is something very interesting as far as the industry is concerned. I would like to just showcase that when a door is installed, what are the things, use kind of consistency and performance and the detailing that a manufacturer has to take to make sure that no work is done at site. Is that you see there is a gap which is maintained between the frame and the shutter wall. This is a standard tolerances which is provided by the door manufacturer to make sure that they don't have any difficulty in installing the frame. Then you could see some kind of red kind of shims are also visible, so that it's used for aligning the frame in line with the water level. And if you see the latch and the deadbolt, they go dead on. There's no two ways about it. So that's a kind of consistency when we talk about steel frame and steel shutter. Yeah. So before we get into the further details, which I told you in terms of how to select the right shutter, I just wanted to make you understand that when you talk about a steel door, or a metal door or a HMPS door, it is not about frame, it is not about shutter, it is about a complete assembly which has to include the frame, door leaf, hardware, and the glass. So this is something which everyone should understand clearly. Why steel door as a complete assembly? I think I've been discussing this over my presentation, but just to highlight again before we conclude this session.
Mr. Syed, sorry to disturb. We have to stick with the time. Please ensure. Okay, thank you.
Another thing,
carry on, sir. Carry on.
Yeah. So one is that, okay, steel door shutter, of course, they have to be from one single source because the tolerance of manufacturing is plus or minus 1 mm. They can be factory finished. Most important thing is that steel doors can also be recycled. This is another important feature of steel doors, which we'd like to highlight that, okay, it can be recycled. What is the best practice for steel door selection? You found that there are a lot of sheet thicknesses, which is mentioned in the frame, which is a lot of sheet thicknesses, which is mentioned in the shutter. How do you define? This is an international practice. Basically, they define the requirement in terms of standard duty, medium duty, heavy duty, and extra duty. So extra heavy duty. So where extra heavy duty, you will use it in areas where you have got, there's no control. People will just abuse in usage. Similarly, when you talk about a medium duty, where you will take some care in. So, we have mentioned it because we are running short of time. I'll definitely share this presentation with the organizers and you can take it from them. So the material and the frame configuration, if it is a standard duty, what should be the frame thickness and what should be the shutter thickness? This is something which is been included, or maybe we should look at including it in the future amendment. Yeah. Apart from this, there's a certain other related standards where the steel door being used, just for your reference in case if you would like to have further details. Hardware, I'm not going to spend too much time because, we are running short of time, as Mr. Garg will take, Sandeep Garg will go in detail. But only thing I would like to highlight is there are two types of hardware. One is fire rated and non-fire rated hardware. I think I'll leave this session hardware, let him take that particular product line. What I would like to showcase is that end of the day, we have spoken so much about steel door, but have you seen it? This is what it is. You see, this is a school where they have used all the classrooms, they have used different colors just to, appeal to the child's mind, that they've come up with a unique design concept. And it's all a steel door, 46 mm thick with same kind of sheets and thicknesses what you're talking about. Even a child, 3-year child can able to open and close the door if it is manufactured and installed properly. Yeah. This is one of the project where you can see that the steel is being used for a glazing purpose in terms of door. And then you have got exit doors, then you've got various rooms and applications where you can use steel door. They look aesthetically really well any other material. These are partitions, which is again made out of steel. Currently, you know that you've got fire-rated doors and partitions, which is coming as a combination. Then you have got a university where they have used steel doors in the rooms. And as I told you, that wood is steel is being also used for main entrances as an alternative. So this is one thing. I can just showcase many such pictures, but I think we are running short of time. And I once again like to thank the panelists and the entire team for giving this opportunity. And I hope that the presentation will, has given you some insight into the product. And we look forward to more such sessions in the coming days. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Syed Mohammad Saab, for the great presentation and full details provided to the all audience, and me too on the steel doors, and clear the concept of the steel door frame and the infill material what we have used. I request a panel member to give some more focus on that, especially Shri R.K. Kakar Saab. Would you like to say something on it?
Well, it was a splendid presentation, very exhaustive and very informative. We would like to discuss more on this, but since we have other panelists also to speak, let's end at that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Abhishek Pal to introduce next speaker with the permission of panel.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Now our next speaker on this, Mr. Satish Kumar. He is mechanical engineer with total 24 years of experience, out of which 20 years in fenestration system machines and software technology. Currently, he is a managing director of Disionic Group of Asia and Australia. He is a member of UDMA Technical Committee and founder director of Indian Facade and Fenestration Association. Mr. Satish Kumar, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see the slide?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, first of all, for BIS for organizing this webinar. It's really great that during this pandemic that we are not able to meet or see each other, we can still communicate and participate in a lot of events. Thank you, Chairman, sir, Mr. Kakar, CD11, CD15, and Mr. Rai Chaudhary. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Pant, sir. It is really wonderful that this webinar is being hosted to address a huge audience. Today, I will be talking about two parts. One part will be handled by me, which is the UPVC door window section. The second portion would be the hardware for the UPVC doors and windows, which my colleague, Mr. Mario Smith, would be addressing. Let me start the presentation about the UPVC Doors and Windows Manufacturers Association. This association was formed essentially by the manufacturers to address the need of communicating to the developers, communicating to the government sector, communicating to the end users what UPVC doors and windows are about, how it is manufactured, how it is installed, and why UPVC doors and windows should be used in India. It was formed in 2008, and together we have been working on different aspects. Out of the 20 odd profile producers in India, around 13 of them are already members of the association, and many more are in the process of joining. We are part of the CED11. We are working on the profile standards for doors and windows. We are also part of the working group, which is working on the doors and windows standard. So together we have been working with the BIS, and outside the BIS, we have been working with the different members, already released a fabrication guideline so that the manufacturers, the MSME sector, can understand how the UPVC doors and windows should be manufactured. We also have released the installation guideline that the windows can be installed properly, the doors can be installed properly. Now, when it comes to doors and windows, like the previous panelist said, a lot depends on how it is installed. And a door and window can perform as well as it is manufactured only when it is installed properly. To take the things further, we also work with the NAPS and introduced our own skill development center in Bhiwadi. We are working with other members to organize different skill development centers in different parts of the country. We have been conducting webinars, we have been conducting seminars and conferences in different parts of the country to educate the people about how UPVC windows and doors are suitable, how UPVC doors and windows have to be manufactured, how they have to be installed. When it comes to PVC, there's a lot of confusion. So what is UPVC? PVC is essentially around 80% of PVC. Then we have certain additives. And out of the majority of the players in the market, the UDMA members, the UPVC window doors manufacturers members, have taken a conscious decision to move away from lead. So I can assure you that all the UDMA members are producing lead-free profiles. The stabilizer used is calcium zinc. There's a certain percentage of titanium dioxide which is used to make the PVC profile UV resistant. We add impact modifiers so that when the doors and windows are installed, they can be stable. It can take care of any kind of impact. There are certain processing aids which is used during the extrusion process. There are certain fillers, mainly calcium carbonate, which is used to give the impact strength or strength to the profile. The UDMA members, when the association was formed, one of the first decisions was that the profile should be stable for the Indian climatic condition. As most of the technology is coming from Europe, the apprehension was whether the systems could be suitable for the Indian climatic condition. So the members joined together and said, okay, for the Indian climatic condition.
सतीश सर, सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब, आपका प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर नहीं हुआ है, एक बार प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर कर दें.
ओके,
इनिशियली शेयर था, फिर बाद में हट गया है. जस्ट शेयर योर प्रेजेंटेशन. Yes, sir, it is visible now, sir. Yes, sir, it is visible. Thank you, sir. Go on.
Yeah, so I was talking about PVC. So PVC basically has around 80% of PVC, and then we have certain additives like calcium carbonate, like stabilizer, calcium zinc. We have titanium dioxide, which gives the UV resistance to the PVC profile. We have certain impact modifiers and processing aids. One of the conscious decisions which the association took was that to ensure that the PVC profile which is coming into India, or at least for the manufacturers who are members of UDMA, are offering the system which is going to be stable. It was decided that in Europe, the climatic condition is less than 22 degrees centigrade. The UV radiation is less than 5 gigajoules. Whereas when it comes to India, the UV radiation is much higher, around 8 gigajoules. So when we look at a 5 years equivalent for the artificial weathering test, now we decided that the profile should be tested for 16 gigajoules for 8,000 hours. It means it's close to 1 year of testing or 1 year of exposure of UV radiation, so that the profile is stable for the market. When it comes to performance of doors and windows, the PVC profiles or windows also go through a similar climatic condition or weathering condition. So definitely they have to be airtight, they have to be watertight, they have to be wind resistant. So when it is airtight, we are looking at different classes. And as we are part of the door window committee, this has also been included. So it is starting from around 50 Pascal, it is going up to 600 Pascal. So basically we create a window or door and we suck the air inside to check what is the air infiltration. And based on the air infiltration into the window, we are analyzing how airtight or watertight the window or door is. Similarly, for the water tightness, during the recent working group meeting on the door window committee, it has been decided that in Europe, the water tightness, the water flow is 2 liters per meter squared minute. But whereas considering the heavy monsoon in the Indian subcontinent and as well as on the eastern coast, we have repeated cyclones, the water flow was determined to be 3.4 liters per meter squared minute. I mean, it is going to be one of the best in terms of the water tightness, the new standard for doors and windows. The committee decided that as India has got different wind pressure zones as defined by the IS 875, The water tightness also should vary according to the zone in which the door or window has been installed. And 20% of the wind pressure in that particular area should be considered for water tightness. And definitely once the door window standard comes into play, this is going to be a revolution, and it is going to be one of the best in class in terms of the doors and windows installed across the world. The wind load is one of the major criteria when it comes to the Indian subcontinent. The wind speeds are determined from the IS 875 part 3. The wind pressure is calculated based on the height of the building, based on the location of the building, and the design of the building. And based on that, the PVC doors and windows are designed. One of the major advantages for PVC is that we are using steel reinforcement inside, which gives the strength. And based on the height of the window, the different thickness of steel can be taken. Based on the wind speed or wind pressure, different thickness of steel can be considered, and it can be designed to be suitable for a particular building. Currently, there have been number of buildings of up to 40 floors where UPVC doors and windows are being used. I'm sure in the future there will be other type of buildings or heights of buildings where the PVC doors and windows can be used. One of the major requirements in case of doors and windows nowadays, with a lot of air-conditioned buildings coming in, is the UW, or the heat transmission through the door and window. PVC offers a big advantage when it comes to the thermal insulation. Being a kind of an insulating material, it prevents the heat either from coming inside or going out. This is also being addressed by BE and BE, which is coming out with a energy label for doors and windows. This is extremely important because around 25 to 30% of the heat loss is through the doors and windows. So it is not just about glass. The UW is coming from the UF, or the frame property, the thermal coefficient of the frame. And UPVC definitely has a better thermal coefficient when compared to other metal doors. The noise reduction, as we are experiencing a lot of traffic noise with the increase in the urbanization, increase in a lot of construction activities across the country, there's a lot of noise which is coming in. The biggest advantage when it comes to PVC is you can replace or increase the glass thickness by replacing the glazing bead, and you don't have to change the frame of the shutter. Okay. So by replacing with a double glazing or triple glazing, you can go in with higher noise reduction. Tests have been found that up to 35 decibels noise reduction can be achieved with a simple door or window. And with special high performance doors and windows of UPVC, you can go to up to 44 decibels in noise reduction. There are some more advantages when it comes to UPVC doors and windows. First and foremost, PVC is non-corrosive, so it gives a lot of value when it comes to the life of the doors and windows installed in the building. The average estimated life is around 35 years, and the recyclability of the material is up to 10 times. That means you can have an estimated life of about 350 years. In Europe, the practice is very, very prevalent because of the long use of UPVC in Europe. For more than around 45, 50 years, UPVC has been used. So currently about 200,000 tons of UPVC is being recycled there. In India, once the usage increases, definitely a lot of these windows and doors will be recycled. Weather resistance, the UPVC is with the right compound, it is definitely weather resistant, which is being tested across the world. For tropical climates, there's a number of tests are being done to be suitable for this climate. One of is the heat reversion test, where the profile is put in the chamber, heated up to 100 degrees centigrade for 60 minutes, and then check if the length of the expansion of the front and the back side is the same, or the contraction after the cooling is reducing in the same direction, so that the warping of the profile does not happen. Further, it is heated up to 150 degrees centigrade in a heat aging chamber for 30 minutes and checked if there are any blisters, any cracks formed on the profile. the Vickers softening temperature test is done. The heat aging and the reversion is with dry air, whereas the Vickers softening temperature is in oil. So the profile sample is immersed in oil, and the oil is heated up. The standard allows or requires that the profile be stable up to 75 degrees centigrade. When the oil is heated, a pin is used to pierce the profile to check at what point the pin can pierce the profile. So standard allows that up to 75 degrees centigrade, the pin should not be able to pierce the profile. And in the test, it has shown that most profiles exceed more than 83 degrees centigrade of temperature. There's also cold impact test, because some parts of India are experiencing cold weather conditions. So the profile is freezed up to -10 degrees centigrade, and then ball of 1 kg weight is dropped from 1 meter height to check if there is any impact. The profile, is it brittle, is it breaks, is it cracked against the cold weather conditions. There's a lot of other tests which is done, like the Charpy impact test is done to determine the strength of the profile. Modulus of elasticity is checked so that if there is a pressure on the profile, after the pressure is removed, the profile should come back to its shape. The corner being welded for PVC, the weld strength becomes one of the major point of testing, because if there is a lot of filler or calcium carbonate which is added, then the weld strength may be weakened. So the welding strength is also part of the standard to determine the durability of the profile. So together, I would say that the UPVC doors and windows are very much suitable for the Indian market. To go to the next topic, which is about hardware, I would request my colleague Mario to handle this portion. Thank you very much.
Satiji, I'm Pant. Some questions have come on the testing facilities of UPVC profiles. So just before you close, you just touch upon that also.
Sure. Okay. Do you want me to read out the questions, or?
You directly let them know about the testing regime today available and what we are going to develop in future. What is our plan?
Sure. Most of the mechanical testing, like the Charpy impact test, the flexural modulus of elasticity, Vickers softening temperature, all these material tests are already available in the Indian market. The UV resistance test, there are few labs available in India. Even CIPET is doing the UV weathering test. We have certain private labs which is available in India. We are working with these institutes to get their approval, check their facilities, and definitely around 90% of these tests are available. Once the standard is introduced, I'm sure a lot of private organizations will invest in different test facilities for the profile. For the doors and windows, there are two labs. One is Winwall in Chennai, and there's FITI or Facade India testing in Mumbai, which is doing the window testing. For hardware also, there are a number of units which are doing for the corrosion test. For the cycle test, there are labs to be formed. But I'm sure once the standard comes in, the cycle test also will be done or available locally. So may I request Mario to take care of the hardware?
One more. There was one more question. They asked how to ensure the thickness of the profiles and thickness of reinforcement, to which I replied that it is going to be performance-based standard. Individual thicknesses and will not matter as long as the performance test, Charpy impact test, they pass in that. That's what I replied. I hope it is correct.
Correct. The profile thickness is actually not so much relevant because the most important is the test which it has to pass through after the artificial weathering. Because in the Charpy impact, we are first doing the test before the artificial weathering, and then we are doing the Charpy impact after the artificial weathering. So the standard allows up to 40% reduction for a class A profile. But generally for the Indian market, it is class B or C, wherein it comes to around 30% of the strength can be reduced after 8,000 hours of exposure. It means 8,000 hours, we are talking about 5 years equivalent. It ensures that the life of the profile is more than 10 years.
Satish, let me start. Since we are running really much behind schedule, I would like you be the presenter. You keep on scrolling down. A window is as good as its hardware. What Mr. Sayat rightly said, it is installed in the wall and we are opening and closing and we don't know what is the mechanical force and what is the force coming in day by day. It is of course the hardware which defines a part of all the color fading and resistance to whatever the wind load. The hardware is there, the key parameter for long-lasting performance. What we are doing with the standard, we are getting architects as well as decision makers and fabricators together, because as of now, everyone is making the symbols the way he would like to do it. There's a lot of confusion sometimes, a lot of misinterpretation, and a lot of misunderstanding also. And with the standard itself, when we are showing the handing in the right position, that later on everyone knows when a symbol is looking like this, I'm talking exactly about an outside or an inside and sliding or an pivot window. This is the first thing for the first time, getting this in place, that we all talk across the country about one parameter. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. It is very also important that we have to understand that not each and every window has to fulfill all the parameters, because we know whatever extra is needed to fulfill, for example, safety protection and mishandling for children, that no one can fall out, so that the hardware has a restriction that a child can't open a child lock, is something, of course, commercially, which is an add-on, which is maybe in a normal window, which is somewhere on the ground floor in a private residence. It is not needed. The standard defines the various options, and then the decision maker and the one who is selecting it can go based as per the parameters, what is actually needed. But when it is needed, then it is important that the tests are going to make accordingly to the new window standard, what we are proposing. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hardware for air tightness. For example, if I have a building without air conditioning, then air tightness is actually not a topic at all. But in an office area where I do have, or in my bedroom where the AC is running, and what Satish also rightly said, we are working with the BE on an energy rating. When an air conditioning is there, then I should have definitely an air tightness, so that I'm not cooling the outer environment, that I just cool the room where am I, and there I'm in a lock, and I don't want to have any loss of energy or any loss of air, that air can somewhere enter. And what Satish also rightly said, then based on pressure, when I do have no wind, then of course my locks are okay, but when a sudden wind pressure is coming, my lock still have to keep the unit airtight. And what we want to implement, the European standard, that as per or up of or till 600 Pascal of pressure, there should be actually almost no air coming in, and the air filtration, which is allowed per square meter of window area and per hour, will be defined in the standard. Next slide, please. Of course, yes, same rain. We do have the IS 875 version 3, which talks about the safety of the building, but it just says that during the heaviest monsoon and the hurricane, my window should not fly away. And what we are proposing now with the new window standard, what Satish also rightly said, more than 3 or 4 liters per square meter per minute, we are defining things based on the Indian need because of the Indian climate and our specific condition. And then again, when I do have a window, what we are discussing at the moment, where an attached balcony is there, or the window is actually really not towards the outside and the rain can directly hit, then we are talking about parameters which can be used to reduce the costing and to make it still watertight, compared to a window which is just installed flush on the outer surface, and the full rain and the full water is going to hit it all the time. With all these standards, we are providing solutions, and then based on the actual requirement, the real hardware options can be chosen, so that whatever is a very important point for a particular testing, the amount, the funds, the money, or the specification should be based on this only. Next slide, please. This is the same. Wind and water, of course, goes together. One test is wind, where we can hear the whistling, and with a proper hardware which locks all around, the whistling noise in a UPVC window will not be there. And when we are saying then we are testing up to 2000 or 2500 Pascal, then even at this point of time, the shatter should not or is not allowed to flow away. And this is again a different, when I test just a glazing or facade, there are no hardware components. There I have just my aluminium or my UPVC and the glass. But whenever a glazing and openable option comes into picture, it is important that this option withstands the exact test result what a fully fixed glazing would also do. Next slide, please. Same for noise. If I'm living in a remote area where I don't have any problem with noise, or just in a living area, and even if I have some traffic noise of around 50 or 55 decibel, then for those particular solution, I don't have to go for the high performance insulated glasses as well as hardware. I can put the best frame, I can put the best glass in, but when my hardware is not sealing the window all around, it's the same like I have a door and I keep it an inch open. It is of no use. And this is where what we initially also said with UTMA, as we are presenting a complete system, similar what Shakti Herman said, a complete system. And this is the revolution which happily, luckily takes off right now in India, so that specified tested solution from a specifier is coming, and that it is not the end user or the contractor who on his own risk has to select all the part components, and when it may fail, he can't go to anyone. But if I'm going for a selected system and I'll use the points accordingly to the system, then I can be rest assured whatever is tested, and if I produce it and install it in the same way, I'm going to get on the end the performance what I'm looking for. Next slide. Safety. Also, as of now in India, we don't have the safety standard in place. Most of the windows are made with grills. We do have from the EN what we are going to adopt. We have resistant glasses on the hardware, and we have glasses hitting on the glass. So how many hits it has to take. But for the hardware, also important, we are defining little risk, high risk, extreme risk. But then again, price is also going to go up accordingly, and there the specifier will need what particular window will fit in which glass. And this will create a transparency to the entire industry. It will create a transparency to the consumer, so that real specified requirements for the first time can be chosen. And then in terms of price escalation, it can be justified while the input and the tests which it has been passed. Next slide, please. Cycles, also very important. If I do have a testing for a private house, when I say maybe 10,000, 20,000 cycles will be a lifetime of around 20 years. Or when I go inside an office area, when I have a frequent one, then maybe the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 or 50,000 cycles, whatever is contacted, whatever is agreed, is going to pass in this particular time. Because presently, when someone says, I have 10 years or 15 years or whatever, it has to be tested on the specified cycles. And I'm really happy with the standard which is going to come, because it is going to give a lot of transparency. When a product is priced in an X parameter, then I can expect certain cycles. Or when a product is there in Y, when the test certificate says that I have, for example, grade 10, 1 lakh cycles. So then it is designed accordingly, then everything is much stronger. The material is used is on a much better grade, or even much bigger or whatever. But this is really important, so that the consumer with this standard has the right and the chance to select the right product what he is looking for. Next slide. Same like corrosion resistant, we do have dry areas, we have coastal areas. Important between the buyer and the seller, the specifier, what is needed. In a dry area, I can work with a coated MS hardware, where in a coastal area, I should go definitely for an 304 grade, but important again, specifier and buyer, consumer need to decide it based on the standard for an area, and then the manufacturer who is installing it has to guarantee it. When I'm going for a grade 5, then I have to guarantee it. Grade 5 is actually charged as well as delivered. Also, again, I'm really happy that all these parameters are going to get a lot of transparency into our business, and a lot of things will be much better understood by the decision makers in future. Next slide. Thank you so much from our side, from UTMA. I think we was almost within the specific time given, and I would like to give back to the host.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
A couple of question, Manoj. Just
Sir, bataiye, sir.
Half a minute only. There are a couple of questions on UPVC we can dispose of right here. One question is, what is the height of sliding UPVC door? Second, can you please suggest a suitable locking arrangement for full height aluminum sliding door shutters openable from center of the window, locking between two window shutters at the center of the window? What is the maximum glass thickness which can be used in UPVC? And then somebody asks, there is a problem in fixing such windows and doors in existing wall, and gap always remains and nullify all the properties. What steps be taken? You can briefly, everything in one go, you can explain.
I would like to say, shutter height. We have to consider two things. We have to consider the load bearing of the roller, as well as we have to calculate the wind load. And that's what Satish rightly said. We are not considering the PVC at all. We are considering only the steel. And we are considering also positive and negative pressure. With the right reinforcements added, and the weight of the rollers taken care, there is no problem in making a 10 feet high door. There is no problem at all. Important is, with whomever you are working, get it specified by or get it approved by a static consultant, by a third party, not just by the person whom you would like to give the order. Ask him to get it certified from an outside agency, and there are many good of them available in the country, that they are saying, yes, as per the BIS, it is going to work. And then again, from the hardware, get a test certificate that the load bearing of a particular roller, we do have in UPVC rollers for lift and slide, which are going up to 300 or 400 kg. The same rollers in the same profiles can be used for an ordinary sliding as well, where the smallest PVC rollers may only have a weight capacity of 50 kg. It is again the specification. When we talk about the thickness of the glass, for a lift and slide system, I can go easily, it depends on the system, but up to 40 millimeter of glass thickness. Where again, on the lift and slide with an ordinary heavy roller inside, I can make it to a normal sliding door. This is also no problem at all. And we do have, of course, with the hardware, all the options of having extended locks to reach. And as more the demand is there from the market, there is no problem. Usually these days, a sliding door has 4 locking points, 4 mushroom hook locking points. If an extended demand is there, you can lock the entire area. But for sliding, usually we are locking only for the safety and not for the airtightness. Airtightness lock is there for a casement door, but for the safety lock, we have 4 locking points, and it can be extended when the supplier has it in the portfolio, and when the demand comes, he will definitely add it. There is no problem at all. Satish, you would like to add one sentence on this?
Yeah, I think most of the points you have covered here. I think there's another question which is
on fixing in the existing walls.
Yes. So there are different methodologies used. First and foremost is to have a proper control on the project site. So most of our members or the fabricators, what they do is they have a person at the site to ensure the site measurements are taken properly. And then when the installation is being done, the peripheral sealing is done with, first of all, with foam, and then with a weather sealant on the outside and acrylic sealant on the inside. Acrylic is paintable, so you can cover up the gaps. The outer weather sealant helps in preventing the water ingress as well as the air leakage. The foam in between helps in the noise reduction. Okay, this is a challenge in the older way of construction where we had brick and mortar, so you would never get a plumb opening. But nowadays, with a lot of foam work construction, I think the situation is much better, and we are able to get better openings, or the cavities are more or less uniform. So you could prefabricate the windows and supply and install more easily. I think moving forward, this challenge would reduce. In some cases, some of the developers or some of the retail projects, they are permitting the use of subframe. So subframe helps in again addressing this problem of the masonry. So you can make these subframes, install the subframes before the plaster. So these are two solutions which are prevalent in the industry, because as the industry grows, with the formwork technology becoming more and more standard, I think this would become more easier to address.
Satishji, on growth of the industry, another question is on market size of UPVC door industry.
Right. Okay. The
you
market
can give
size,
in one word. You can give answer.
Sure. The estimated market size is about 75,000 tons as of now.
Okay.
The year-on-year growth is about 12 to 15%.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Mandeep Singh, sir, आप कुछ इसमें बोलना चाहेंगे, sir? UPVC, because this is the now there is a trend of the UPVC is going for door and windows.
We take students to UPVC manufacturing areas and fabrication areas, so I understand this material well and its limitations also. So of course, one day we can try comparing all of them for its value for money as well as the advantages, disadvantages for academic purpose.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. MK Malik Saab from CPWD. Malik Saab, would you like to share your experience about UPVC door and windows in CPWD use and other sectors? Malik Saab? Okay, I think is not in place. Okay. We have to stick with our time schedules because we are running late by 20-30 minutes. Okay, I would request Shri Abhishek Palji, please introduce next speaker. Thank you.
Yes, our next speaker is Mr. Nitin Vaze. Mr. Nitin Vaze has a 40 years of experience in the building and construction industry. He spearheads a replacement of timber infill with modern engineered infill products since the last 14 years in association with Sauerland Spanplatte, Germany. Presently, he is also the convener of the working group of the Bureau of Indian Standard, and which is working on IS 2202 Part 1 and 2, as well as IS 2191 Part 1 and Part 2. Mr. Vaze has exhaustive all-round experience in the wood panel business, as he has worked at various organizations in the industries as the head of marketing, manufacturing, and materials. Mr. Nitin Vaze.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you very much to the Bureau of Indian Standards, the UPVC Doors and Windows Manufacturers Association, MES Builders Association, particularly also Mr. Kakar, Mr. Pant, Mr. Pradeep Singh Shikavar, and Mr. Anand Nandanbar, who I had the opportunity to work very closely. Now, I will start with the presentation. Unlike my predecessors who had components which were quite engineering oriented, my subject is not so engineering oriented. The components which make the door, basically there are two types of door constructions. One is a box type door construction, which consists of an internal frame of stiles rails, infill, which is 84% by area, skins on both the faces, and a door jamb, which we call it as a framework. The new type of engineered door construction entails a solid core, either of particle board or MDF core, which can be having a direct pasted veneer or laminate or on the decorative faces, and just a lipping on the edges. Concept of door, or rather misconcept of door in India. Most of the thing people are thinking that door is just a panel to close the hole in the wall. They do not have any expectations, no aspirations out of this. And this has been going on for several years. Globally, a door has a performance expectations, and those include a high impact resistance. It should give a beautiful finish. It should be also of a low weight. Provide a reasonable fire safety with high sound insulation, and above all should be environmental friendly. Basic myths of the door in India. A heavy door is a better door. A heavy door provides more security, and a door provides for privacy by default. Actually, in reality, heavy door warps during climatic changes, allowing the outside hot or cold air to enter, causing the losses in energy. Second myth, heavy door really does not provide any security. The thief always breaks the lock. You will never, if you Google and see, you will never come across any incidents where the thief has broken the door. He is always targeting the lock. So a heavy door really does not provide any real security the way Indians perceive it or their perceptions are. Doors provides for privacy. Yes, to a certain extent. A door provides for privacy of sight. But what about the privacy of sound? In India, this is a very big misconception that when we close the door, we think that whatever sound inside the room does not percolate outside. But this is absolutely incorrect. And most of the time you will come across examples by the students have to go to coaching classes because the television noises from the rooms are disturbing their studies, or if there is a marital dispute, the children have to visit the counseling psychologists and like that. What is more important is the heart of the door. So what is at the heart? It's the core. Core options traditionally used have been with timber. It's almost been there for last 50 years. Then the next option is tubular particle board infill. This has been used globally for almost 70 years as an infill for the flush doors. Flat pressed particle boards, which are used only by the Indian door manufacturers, and honeycomb paper infill, which is sparingly used in India. So we will go for the hard diagnosis for all these cores. First is the timber infill. This is the most common infill used in India for more than 50 years. But what has this infill done? It has only increased the demand for timber and its utilization. There are better things to do with timber than to just fill the door, which does not provide for any performance benefit. So if we are taking into account one door of a 7x3 size with a thickness of 35 millimeters, almost 80% of the material is timber infill in it. It looks very nominal when you look at the timber filling requirement per door. but India is building 20 lakh homes every year with average of 5 doors per home. We are talking about 1 crore doors, and that is a massive timber filling requirement just to fill the doors. Think if so much of timber filling could be saved and we could make lot of furniture components out of this. Astronomical, almost 12 lakh trees are being spent in filling of trees. It's a very much wastage of the essential, scarce natural raw resource. We need to change. The world has changed. We need to go and eliminate the use of timber filled flush doors with the engineered materials which are used globally almost for now 6 decades in massive volumes worldwide in almost more than 90 odd countries. So we come to the ideal replacement of the timber is the tubular particle board. What are the advantages? Its weight. It gives a value weight feeling for the door. Impact resistance. It can withstand impact up to 20 kgs per centimeter square. Thickness precision can be expressed in terms of no telegraphing because the thickness tolerance is plus minus 0.1 mm. The flexibility of the material gives a very high sound reduction, as much as 27 decibels. The geometry of the fire, the geometry of the particles in the way it is produced give a very low burning rate. A normal flush door of 35 minutes without any additives or any inorganic materials will make it last for at least 20 minutes. The third most commonly used is a flat press particle board. Now here is the basic key why the rest of the world does not use such type of boards as an infill. One is the thickness swelling. When such board is put inside and there is humidity exposure, it is going to expand and swell in the thickness. ISI has taken proper steps to make sure that the thickness swelling in such board should be not more than 5%. But the door industry does not use such type of boards in the real terms. So this is where there is a major fallacy. The fourth option for the core is honeycomb paper infill. For the Indian market, with the combination of the other components of the door, it makes it too light. No acoustical privacy and no fire protection. As a result, it has taken a very small market share of just below 5%, even though it has been available in the market for last 20 years. The face of the door has also changed over the last 15 years. Originally, it used to be only a plywood face with commercial veneer or with a decorative veneer, but now other value-added options are available which provide for melamine faced, MDF or HDF, olefin faced, MDF, HPL faced with MDF, HDF or plywood, 3 mm molded skin or a direct 2 mm HPL paste on. The stiles and rails of the door, the good old seasoned timber remains, but now engineered options are also available which are being extensively used by the door industry are with the moisture resistant MDF, oriented strand boards, laminated veneer lumber and the laminated strand lumber. This is actually just a small video presentation to show that a door has to provide for privacy of sight and privacy of sound. Besides the sound privacy, it is also protecting the energy savings, because the air draft does not flow in any of the gaps all across the border of the door. So this is as much as the box type construction goes. Now we come to the engineered doors segment, which is fairly simple construction. You take a board of MDF or particle board, which is moisture resistant in its generic, the way it is produced, of a thickness of 30, 32, 35, 38, depending upon the thickness of the door. And all that you need to do is, for these doors, you have to provide a beading on the edges and provide a face, which can be either veneer or HPL, or even paint it. The other cost-effective option would be to use a melamine face door blank, and the door shutter is ready for installation. Of course, some care has to be taken, like providing of plastic inserts while this is being done. So basically, this is the overall aspects of the door industry and the options which are available in India, which has almost 95% market share of the trade. Besides the commercial doors, you also have a long availability of technical doors, acoustic doors, which can provide you for sound acoustics from 27 to 44 decibels. We have to keep in mind that for every 3 decibels, the human ear hears half of the earlier level. And so naturally you can expect that the prices also rise with the increasing of the higher acoustical values that one could expect from. Fire door sets made from 100% timber are available from 30 minutes to 120 minutes. Normally timber doors are not exceeding this range. The third technical doors which are available are anti-burglary and anti-theft doors, which are made conforming to the UK standard PAS 24. Again, all these technical doors are in a subject by themselves. So I don't think it is appropriate for me to cover the present time scope. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you,
questions?
sir. Sir, I would request to Mr. Nandanwar from Apriti could put some focus on that.
Am I audible?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vazay, for giving such a nice presentation on doors, wooden doors. In your presentation, you covered basically tubular door, which is of XPT grade as per Indian standard IS 3087. And this is allowed in Indian standard IS 2202 actually. And the issue is that there is no manufacturer in India who is manufacturing this door, XPS and XPT grade. These are basically extrusion press doors. In India, basically the flat press doors are used. However, the performance is being determined as per IS 2202 for various, by giving a basis as per various performance tests. So these doors also stands good. And in the current raw material scenario, if we see the use of timber, we have to minimize that. And actually the timber, what is coming to the manufacturers are basically from plantation or imported timbers. So this also you have covered very well in your presentation. And another thing that as per this our Indian standard, so it specifies the use of phenol formaldehyde resin, and which is basically for exterior application. And you are also working on this development or revising the standard, which will be suitable for interior application also. So in this specification, this imported materials, which are basically made for bureau formality, will also hold good. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would.
There is
Sir,
Manoj,
sir.
one question for Mr. Vaze. That is, what is the logic behind having tubular hollows in the core? You have been explaining. You please explain once more.
Okay. So
Logic,
if you look
logic
at the
behind
tubular,
having tubular hollows in the core.
yes, I'll explain to you. The tubular board is nothing but two mirror images of an arch. And the arch principle is the basic of many civil engineering constructions like the bridge, the domes. And this principle, which is when used in the door, gives a very high impact resistance to the material. When such a strong civil engineering principle of a tubular board is used inside the door, it can give you a 20 kg per centimeter square in spite of being tubular in nature, which is a very big achievement because of the way the board is constructed.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ashok Kumar, sir, from CBRI. Sir. Dr. Ashok Kumar, sir. Dr. Mandeep Singh, sir. Sir, please put some light because wood is the one of the traditional material used for the door and window, and now this contemporarily type of wood and window looks is very prevalent in the market. Lot of bungalows and single unit house they use it. Sir, please enlighten something on that. Dr. Mandeep Singh, sir.
You see, I was going through this presentation, and with this changes in materials to some extent, the core material replacing the wood is definitely an idea which academically we have been promoting. When it comes to aesthetics, wooden doors in residential premise allows person to do much more when it comes to interiors by the interior designers, the materials, the colors, the texture of their wood, of their furniture versus the doors, etc. So wooden doors does take precedence in residential area much more than the other kinds of door. But many times we have also experimented with the wooden doors, but PVC windows, because their advantages are very different when it comes to windows. So and windows get fairly largely covered with curtains and blinds and other things, and with very minimal sections, one gets very nice visibilities outside. So it's a residential area has a lot more scope for the doors, wooden doors rather, whereas earlier by Mr. Muhammad, where it was schools and commercial areas where the steel was used very frequently. So each kind of activity has its own role to play, and it also depends upon, of course, the user's perceptions and their liking. So it's good to see that developments are happening in all fronts, and it is always, as I said earlier, also that one day we should have a comparison of the advantages, disadvantages, cost, and which will become a someone to decide what to do and where to do and how to do. So good. That I just wanted one small thing from Mr. Vaze. What was this anti-burglary door, especially when you come to talk about residential part?
Okay, the standard says that without using any hammering tools, you have to chisel the door to break it in less than 1 minute. That is the past 24 test.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dr. Ashok Kumar, sir, from CBRI.
लगता नहीं है वो. Dr. Mandeep Singh, what you asked, no, we have a set of standard test method standards, IS 4021. One of the tests is for anti-burglary also. So as we define, the criticality, as the burglary. So that's what, because there are certain tests for slamming test with certain kind of loads, which is which is thrown over the doors, and there is one test for anti-burglary also. So against that test, we have said test can be reviewed from the point of view of actual burglar operation today. Of course, there is a test to misuse also, misuse, resistance to misuse, because children tend to misuse. They will keep on slamming. So some of these tests are there. These test methods are also undergoing changes. 4020
performance. Yes.
Yeah. So you can consider having a project by students. If you feel it is appropriate, on 4020, and now comparative statement of test methodology of 4020 versus what is given in ISO and European standards. They can use our library also. We can make available all these standards, and they can project what is current developments world over, and where we stand, and whether some of these tests need to be updated. So that can be one.
I think we can take up a small exercise by students.
Yes. We'll make available all standards, whatever from word over, and we'll get in our library. But today it is possible very easily.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Mandeep Singh sir, Sanjay Pan sir. And now I request Shri Abhishek Pal to introduce the next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Now our next speaker on this line is Mr. Sandeep Garg. Shri Sandeep Garg is Director of DP Garg and Company Private Limited. And Mr. Sandeep Garg will talk about hardware for doors and windows. Mr. Sandeep, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abhishek. First of all, I'd like to welcome all the distinguished panelists and guests. And I'd like to start with my presentation. Now, I'm basically discussing about hardware. On hardware, we'll have a lot of hardware, which would cover cabinet hardware, door hardware, UPVC door hardware, etc. But I'm going to focus on door, wooden door, metal door, and glass door hardware, basically for doors. Now, basically we can classify doors on following basis. It can be a hinged door, a sliding door, or it can be a bifold door system. Then again, the use of fire resistant doors is increasing from day to day. And there is a massive requirement for non-fire doors as well. Basic components of a hinge door, I would say hinges, door closer, locks, latches, lever handles, open handles. Then there's secondary security products like tar bolts, flush bolts, door chains, door eye, door restrictor. Then there's door stopper. Then you go on to panic hardware. For sliding door, we'll say it's sliding door gear or pocket door gear. For bifold doors, there is a bifold door system which is available. Now, again, how do we categorize hardware? Internationally, it is basically categorized on category of use, whether it is for internal door or where the user will exercise care or he like to abuse it, like in a public place, where you have no control on how the door would be used, and similarly hardware. Then the durability cycle, like we discussed, it can vary from 5,000 cycles on to 10 lakh cycles, depending on how we want to use it. Then door mass, depending on whether we are going to use it for a light door or a heavy door. Fire rating, definitely yes, whether it's suitable for fire rated hardware, for fire rated assembly or no. Then there's safety, security, corrosion. And again, like we say, that no single hardware or metal is suitable to be used for all type of doors. For example, a mild steel hinge is good to be used in northern area in India, where we get some rains, but it's not good for coastal areas or for use in bathrooms, because you have a chance that it would rust easily. Again, a brass hinge is good to be used in coastal area, but not on a heavy door, because then it would not give you a high endurance life. Similarly, satin finish in stainless steel, which is the most sought after finish, gives a very good aesthetic appeal, but it's not good for giving a high corrosion resistance life. And again, there's a lot of things that we can go on. And again, we discuss a lot of times that stainless steel is anti-corrosive. A matter of fact is no metal is anti-corrosive. All metals that are there on planet Earth oxidize. They all rust. We call it rusting in case of steel, but they all oxidize. Even on brass, silver, gold, name any metal, they tarnish. Again, coming to hinges, which is the basic product that goes on door. And it is the most underrated product that we use on a door. Why underrated? Because we just merely specify it and say, use this hinge. But a hinge should properly be specified. Again, we will say hinges are on two sides. One is single axis hinge and a double axis hinge. On single axis hinge, you would say there's a butt hinge, a flush hinge, bearing hinge, piano hinge, T-hinge, parliament hinge, railway hinge, all with their specific roles. A butt hinge is the most commonly used hinge in India. Then you've got a flush hinge. Again, the beauty of this hinge is you don't need to recess the door for the sake. You just fit and use it. Then bearing hinge, on most fire-rated doors, this is the most popular hinge that we use. Then again, you've got piano hinges, T-hinges. Parliament hinge has its own use when you want to have the door set parallel to the wall. We also call it projection hinges in some part. Again, there are quite a few hinges which are at the moment not readily available in India, but they are now coming. One is a cactus type or seam hinge or a 3D adjustable hinge. At the moment, the major manufacturer is Siemens-Werk, but again, efforts are being made in India to make it locally. The best part about this is you fit the hinge on a door, and once you start using the hinge, generally it wears and the door starts to sag. Now you can adjust the hinge to bring the door back up to its original position without taking the door off the frame. Rising hinge has got its own beauty. Again, on a lot of radius topped doors, we say we cannot use door closers and the door stands to remain open. Now, if we are using a rising butt hinge, by using the gravity, it lets the door fall on its own. So it acts as a hinge as well as a door closer. Again, lift off hinge is another product where you could have a sort of frames and doors shipped separately, and you could sort of fit the door once it is on site without having to fit the hinge on site. Again, a lot of metals are used in making hinges. Aluminum, mild steel, stainless steel, brass. Again, when we specify hinges, we could keep a certain thumb rule. We could use this thumb rule that in coastal area where corrosion is effective, we should try to use polished stainless steel, mirror finish, or a brass or an aluminum hinge because they give a better resistance to these factors. Again, less frequently used doors should use aluminum or brass hinges with a dissimilar pin, basically a different metal to prevent cold welding. So you could actually use your hinge once it is back in use. Something like your attic door where you'd be using it possibly once in 3 months or 4 months. Again, mild steel doors are good for northern belt, but they do not offer architectural appeal. Again, stainless steel hinges are good for any door because it gives a good aesthetic appeal and they can also offer high endurance. Again, there was a question here on how to best fit a hinge. Basically, we say, you can see in the slide that we fit the top hinge 250 millimeter from top of the frame and the bottom hinge 250 mm from the bottom. So that makes it there. And again, if it's a light door, 2 hinges are good enough to take care of the door. If we are using a fire rated door, we generally prefer to put a hinge in the center. Whereas if we are using a very heavy door, we like to add a fourth hinge, which is 200 mm below the top hinge. Again, I've shared the cycle. What is a suggested cycle use per annum for doors? Again, while deciding hinge, we take care of door mass, endurance, type of use, corrosion resistance required, suitability for fire. Do we need a security against theft? Suppose a thief is trying, he can't get through the lock side, he'll try and destroy the knuckle and remove the door. So we can add a security pin in there to improve that protection. Again, there are various standards that are there. Internationally, EN 1935 is the most popular standard for hinges. Again, we've got various IS standards, and at the moment, effort is being done to amalgamate all Indian standards, take them onto a performance base as per EN and UL standards. Again, door closers, that's the second bit of hardware, which is pretty optional. On India, we use most popular is hydraulic type surface mounted door closer. Other types are concealed type hydraulic door closer, electromagnetic type door closers, spring door closer, and floor spring and its accessories. Again, we base it on door mass, endurance, fire rating, category of use, corrosion. International standards that are followed are EN 1154, UL 228. We have got 4 Indian standards, and again, effort is being done to amalgamate these standards. Next, we come to locks and latches. Again, there are 4 types of locks and latches which are basically in use: biometric, electronic, magnetic, and mechanical locks. Again, I shall be focusing on mechanical locks for this webinar. Major type of mechanical locks used are mortise locks with bitted key, mortise locks to be used with Euro profile cylinders themselves, cylindrical knob lock, which is most popular in most of the projects because of the low cost involved with them. Then we could mention padlocks and main door locks, what we call night latches or rim locks. Internationally available, there are more locks available, which is code locks, multi-point locking system, escape locks, construction key cylinders, etc. But these 4 locks are now being made by Indian manufacturers and would soon be joining ranks on locks available in India. Again, what is the usage criteria of locks? Most of the time, when we specify a lock, we specify the same lock for the entire building. But we should give a thought, what are the external doors where we need more security and where we can get away with lesser security. Like if a burglar is trying to enter, he'll enter through main doors or windows. That is where we should offer maximum protection. Or a door where we are keeping certain valuables. And we should be investing more on locks on these positions rather than investing on other points. Again, how do we classify what lock is better, what it isn't? Now, we did discuss about security. So I'll just say, we'll just take 4 basic points. First is time it takes to pick the lock, or in simple terms, it takes time to make a duplicate key for that lock. Second is resistance to drilling. Third is resistance to bumping. And fourth is to destroy it mechanical by using it a snapping device or a hammering. Again, we could take care when we are specifying for bathroom, like if we have got young kids in the home, we would like to specify a lock with a coin turn. So in case they trap themselves, we can open them. For others, we can use a key-based lock for better security. Again, a lot of times we specify locks with master keying system. Now, master key and grandmaster key systems are quite convenient in terms of usage, but at the same time, we must know that they drastically reduce security of the locking systems that we are using. Because basically, anytime we master key a lock, we are letting a lock to be opened by more than one key. which is basically compromising with the security provided with the lock. Again, the basic performance of locks is based on category of use, durability, door mass, suitability for fire resistance, corrosion resistance, security it can provide. Major international standards are EN 12209, EN 1303, BS 3621, and then TS10, BS 8607. Then we got a lot of Indian standards. And at the moment, the process is again on to amalgamate these standards into 2 or 3 performance-oriented standards. Next comes lever handle, which always takes the most focus when we specify hardware. Again, these can be made of brass, zinc, stainless steel. Basic subdivisions are, it can be lever on rows or lever on back plates, different sizes. Again, there are 3 basic variants of levers. One is a sprung lever, one is sprung assisted levers, and third is unsprung lever. Basic standard internationally is EN 1906, and we got Indian standard IS 4992, which is currently under revision to get it performance oriented. Next, pull handles. Similar to lever handles, we have got pull handles. Again, they can be made of various metals. Basic classification is they go back-to-back fix, bolt fix, conceal fix, or plate fix. Again, basically known for aesthetics, but performance is equally important. And at the moment, the major international standard for determining performance is BS 8424. Indian standard IS 208 is currently under redrafting to take it to performance-based standard and take it forward. Next is bolts. Again, secondary security. Major type of bolts that we know in India for door hardware are tower bolts, barrel bolts, sliding door bolts, rack bolts, flush bolt, drop bolts, indicator bolts. Again, uses vary based on how we want to use them. And we've got EN 1205 as the major international standard for determining performance. And we've got various Indian standards. And again, process is on to amalgamate all these standards. I've just shown a few photographs of tower bolts, rack bolt, flush bolts, indicator bolts, etc. Door stopper is the next on the hardware category as we go along. Again, the major role is to avoid the door hitting the wall. And there used to be metal-based, brass, aluminum, etc. But the major role is to stop any hardware bit fitted onto the door or the door itself slamming into corresponding wall and avoiding any damage. The role has extended now to keep the door in place, to hold it on place so it doesn't close back. The current Indian standard is IS 1823, and this will be coming under revision soon. Panic hardware is another important product. Currently, we are 100% reliant on imports on this product category, and Indian companies are starting to manufacture, hence the need to draft IS standard pretty soon. EN 1135, EN 179, UL 305 are major international standards for panic hardware. Again, panic hardware is fire rated as well as non-fire rated, but demand for fire rated exceeds far more than non-fire rated panic hardware. Again, it should be fitted ideally in any building where more than 50 people are there. So there could be a safe exit in terms of panic. Again, Indian standard is currently in draft to bring a standard out for the same. Sliding door and wardrobe gear. Now, again, a lot of architects are here and they would definitely understand that on a hinge door, when we fix a door, we are basically taking a 3 feet of door, and when we operate it, it uses an area of 9 square feet while opening and closing. And again, India is a growing populous country. Land prices and everything are going up. So if we consider a house and we consider 5 doors or 7 doors in a house, we are losing roughly 70 square feet of area. And then you add to the same doors for your cupboards. Again, sliding door gear is a good option for doors and wardrobes to overcome this wastage of space and utilizing that space, precious space, for something useful. Again, the international standard for same, most popular, is EN 1527. Again, no one in India is manufacturing the sliding door gear systems, and a draft is under planning to be drafted as per IS standard to get a framework here so a lot of people can follow the standard. Again, although not part of this core committee, but fire seals, smoke seals, intumescent pads are an integral part of door hardware, especially for fire door assemblies. Again, I thought it's worth a mention. Then you've got cabinet hardware. Again, cabinet hardware being a door and window meeting. This was not here, but I thought it's worth mentioning because it is an integral part of CD15 core range of products. Major products are cabinet hinges, drawer slides, cabinet locks, cabinet handles, magnetic catches, half-pin staples, ball catches, etc. At the moment, we've got standards for cabinet lock as IS 729, ball catches IS 8756. But again, new standards are being drafted for drawer slides or cabinet hinges or drawer handles, cabinet handles, and so on. Thank you very much. For additional details, you can contact us. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Manoj.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, Garg sahab.
Abhishek.
Yes, sir. Bataiye sir.
Abhishek, Sandeep ji, there are a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So first, is there any advanced hinges which will give us slow closure feature inbuilt to avoid door banging at high altitude? And somebody else also has asked, just mentioned the hinge to replace door closer. So these two questions are same. So you please, if you could answer these.
Basically, it's a rising hinge that can be used to replace door closers. And again, the gradients are different to achieve different closing speeds for the door.
Okay, so there is a possibility and we can work on that. Yes. The other question which has been asked is, why are majority of door hardware, this is from Mr. Girish HR from Bangalore, he said, why are majority of door hardware including locks and handles that are made in India are either hopelessly of poor quality or quality differs from batch to batch? If at all they are of good quality, their cost escalates equivalent to imported lock. Why can't Indian manufacturers provide good quality at affordable price instead of artificially overpricing? This is one. So this is the only question, price versus quality, and broadly, as we say, no, Chinese material, they can provide good quality, bad quality, very bad quality, and very good quality, all kinds. So why can't we, of course, from BIS, the answer is they should go for purchase of ISI marked products. But I think you can answer better on the quality aspects and market conditions.
Again, what we are trying as, firstly, I'd like to answer this as a manufacturer's perspective. Again, there are lots of type of manufacturers out here operating. Again, it depends whose product you are buying. There are some fantastic hinge lock manufacturers in India out here, door closers, and then there are some really poor, nasty quality manufacturers as well. Now, again, the answer lies in what sort of price expectation you have. and it really depends on who you are buying it from, how honest is the shopkeeper with you, and what is the sort of knowledge available. Now, from BIS perspective, we understand this point that there are a lot of manufacturers hoodwinking the customers. They are offering terrible product at cheaper price, which is no good. Again, what we are drafting in a standard is we are creating standards which are performance oriented based, and will be having a format where manufacturers will be declaring the performance onto the product boxes. So when any customer is going out there to purchase a product, he can actually understand what my hardware is going to perform. It's not that I'll be saying, yes, it's ISI mark. It won't be just ISI mark. It would be stating, yes, it is ISI mark and it is suitable for 2 lakh cycles for 80 kg door. So that is the effort we are trying to put in while creating the new standards.
Thank you, sir. I just want Shri B. Majumdar, sir, to throw some light on this hardware for doors and windows. Majumdar, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I must thank Mr. Sandeep Garg. He has really done a fantastic job of covering the whole gamut of hardware fittings which are being dealt by CED 15 in a span of about 15-20 minutes. That's a good job. He has discussed the whole range of products, starting from hinges and with details of various kinds of hinges. So much he has been able to cover, and with items like door cover, door closers, and locks, etc., and including the various characteristics that all of these are required to be tested. He has also given the details of the various standards, international as well as the BIS standards which are available, and the work that is going on right now in BIS for updation of the standards in terms of the performance. So it's a great job. He has covered very nicely. And as he was mentioning in reply to that last question, that how you will know the product while at the time, how the marking will be done, that is what the classification system is aiming at, to give this. There will be 8 digits and the digit numbers will be given. So just if you are aware, then having a look at the numbers of the 8 digits, you will know the various characteristics of the products, and the customer can purchase with a full knowledge of what he is going to get. So that is the aim, and with the help of, they are one of the people, DP Garg company, who are working in our various working committees, and we should be able to bring out the products in a better manner to win the customers' confidence. As Mr. Dr. Sanjay Pant has mentioned, that one has to ensure that they are purchasing the BIS marked products, and not, because there are many manufacturers, local and otherwise, who are doing business with any type of product. So you have to look for the quality product, then you will get it definitely. Thank you.
Kakar Sahab, if you would like to say something.
You see, the presentation was very educative, but left me with some more information which I would have wanted. This was due to paucity of time. I would request Garg Hardware to make this presentation more exhaustive and put it on the net so that we can in our own time get to know more of the hardware for doors and windows.
Definitely we will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kakar sir. Now, our next speaker is Mr. Manav Gulati. Shri Manav Gulati is a senior manager architectural specification in Dorma Kaaba, and he will give his presentation on glass doors. So, only one request is that, sir, please stick to the time limit, and now you can.
Sure, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Hope my screen is visible. Presentation is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Good evening, everyone. I understand that in the interest of time, I'll try to finish it in my time frame. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for scheduling this webinar and giving us an opportunity as a speaker. To continue from what Sandeep ji was telling, why hardware is important, I just take 1 or 2 minutes onto a subject, why hardware is important, and then I will come to my topic, glass door technology. In fact, it's a very, very vast topic, very difficult for us to cover in 20 minutes. But yes, I have tried to showcase the design trends in the industry, what's going on. And then being a code specialist, I will try to share the code details and all with everyone on this forum so that we can have a separate session sometime, especially onto the codes. But yes, I have tried to cover the design intent of the glass door technology and industry. Just to start with from where Sandeep ji has finished, right now it's 4:43, so I'll try to finish into my time frame. Understanding building hardware. Frankly speaking, hardware is the most ignored subject into any of the building. To be very true with you, we all focuses onto the interior, carpets, false ceiling, but hardware is the one subject which is the most ignored topic. I would tell you what happens when a fire happens in a building. Very, very thoughtful insight. We never imagine that this is the most negative side of the building when someone designs the building. But yes, being a designer, being an architect, we all need to keep in mind all these things which are happening these days. You are aware, many buildings are catching up fire. A fire being caught in a hospital, people are unaware to run. In a normal building, yes, we all are in a very sensible position to run. But imagine in hospital, people are not even able to run because they are being operated, whatever reason may be. So what do we do in that cases? Very, very important for us. Why hardware application is very important. We all can see this. This is a fire exit door. This is an emergency evacuation door, and the building management is saying that in case of fire emergency, you need to run from here. But unfortunately, someone has changed this door. How will people run out of this door? When an architect designs a fire passage, he always try to give a separate 3 meter or 4 meter. But what happens when people will run? Just to give a thought to it, yes, hardware, very, very important subject in our industry, whether it's a glass door, wooden door, any kind of a door. But this is just a brainstorming. I wanted to start with my presentation. This is a fire escape door which says that in emergency, evacuation is always free. The moment fire happens, people need to press the panic bar and people need to run. But just imagine someone has changed this door. Unfortunately, these are Indian projects images in most of the big government infrastructure jobs. And this is the reality. So we all need to be very, very, someone has put a tower bolt with a panic bar, a wrong application. So just to give a thought onto it, and then I'll come to my main subject, which is a glass door technology. A very massive subject for all of us, changing design parameters. We all are part of this market. So see the 70s face off when Nehru Place, Chandni Chowk was our market. And on the right-hand side, the Cyber City, all the glass buildings, with the face has changed altogether. With reference to facade, with reference to interior doors. What are the advantages of glass doors in architecture actually? The most important advantage of glass is a natural daylight comes inside the building. Effective glass. Now, glass can also be of different type. If someone is not using a performance glass, India is a very hot country, especially the northern part of the country. Imagine you use a normal glass instead of being energy efficient building. Your building is absorbing heat and then your AC bills are going high. So the right type of a glass need to be used in a building. So there are different parameters which are supposed to be keep in mind when designing the glass building. So that is one important aspect when it comes to usage of glass into a building. So as we rightly said, glass has many advantages, and a wrong glass usage in any building has many disadvantages also. The biggest advantage is aesthetically it looks much better. The rentals what you get from a glass building are much higher. Now these days you get a better transparency, so there are many advantages. So I'll not go into the details of the nitty-gritty due to the paucity of time, but just to cover you the glass door technology. Different types of glasses being used into the building: tempered glass, laminated glass, toughened glass, insulated glass, reflective glass. Yes, architects are very particular when they are designing particular glass door depending on the usage of a building, the sun facing, east facing, north facing. So all these things are kept in mind when architects are designing these glass buildings. Types of glass used in architecture: most common glass used these days is the toughened glass and the laminated glass. Toughened glass is mainly used onto the doors, whereas laminated glass is mainly used into the railings, in the skylights. Because the advantage of laminated glass is, like, our windshield of a car is laminated glass, because the moment it breaks, the glass will not shatter, that will not come to your face. So similarly, typically when it's a skylight, the probably glass should not break and it should spread. So there are some advantages of laminated glass, some advantages of toughened glass. But yes, there are many probably most prominent glass used these days into the glass industry are in buildings are the toughened glass and both laminated glass. Type of glass doors for our reference: a wooden frame glass door, metal frame glass door, frameless glass door. Everything has its own advantages. Fire rated glass door, non-fire rated glass door. There is a myth that there is no fire rated glass door. Yes, commonly available fire rated glass door these days, and extensively used in most of the corporate offices these days. Glass doors can be of single leaf, double leaf. Typically, these are the basics on the glass door. Now I'll come on to the technology. We can have an automatic glass door also and a manual glass door also. Similarly, they can be hinged glass door, pivoted glass door. The glass door can also be the sliding. Again, in sliding, we have a variety: manual, automatic, and the glass sliding folding doors. So revolving doors can also be of a glass door. So different permutation combination are being used in glass doors today. Every product has a different standard. When we use a frameless glass door, there's a standard by the name called BSE 1154, which Sandeep ji has covered. So every product has a very different standard onto the different detailing line. Let's come to the most important point. When someone is using a glass door, most important thing to be kept in mind: fire, life safety, security solutions. Now take an example. We are using an automatic sensor door. The safety of the people is very important when someone entering the building. It's typically like a lift door. Someone should not be crushed inside the door. So there are international standards which are being drafted, EN 16005, which says what is the speed of the door if someone gets struck. Typically the lift technology works on the same standard. Another important point when designing the glass door for the building is high usage, high abuse. Public buildings, shopping mall, airport buildings, retail stores, 10,000 people come in every day, go out every day. So that should be kept in mind when designing the building. Aesthetics: glass actually started being used mainly from the aesthetics point of view. Accessibility solution: are the accessible people are able to use these kind of glass doors? So these kind of things need to be kept in mind when designing any kind of a glass door. Now, there is a very wrong misconception, and most of the projects we see the same sort of a floor spring is used in all kind of doors. Now, every door has a very different usage. Every door has a different thickness, different width, different height. Thickness of the glass is different. So when designing a glass door hardware, or when designing a glass door, hardware need to be kept in mind, because if you use a heavy duty glass door hardware on a light duty door, the door becomes very heavy. The children of the age of 7 to 8 years old will not able to open the door, especially the kids. They are not user friendly kids. So designing a glass door, the hardware plays a very important role when you are designing it. So few things to be kept in mind. To add this confusion, security requirements sometimes conflict with safety requirement. I tell you, most of the time we try to conflict in between safety and security. The more you make building safe and safe, security is compromised. Safety means when fire happens in a building, we all are supposed to evacuate the building. And then if you put more and more locks, you're compromising the security. So keeping in view the usage of the building, we all need to design the building. You go to all the airports kind of building. Airport buildings are the most secured buildings practically, because when you are inside and imagine fire happens, you immediately need to evacuate the building. So that's how, depending on the usage of the building, all these things need to be considered when we use this kind of a door. Importance of code and standards while selecting door hardware. Very, very important. Glass door of different width, heights use different standard. The floor spring has a different weight carrying capacity, starts from 60 kg, 80 kg, 200 kg, 300 kg. Now I give you a very, very valid question. Now someone will come and tell me that I have a 300 kg door. Can I use hinges? The best answer to that door is no, use pivots. Now pivots are always, most of the time, are used on a floor spring. Are there the floor springs available in the market which can carry a weight up to 200 kg door, 300 kg door? Yes, answer is yes. But by mistake, the contractor might use a hinge, and after 3 months the door will sag. So all these things are very, very important to be kept in mind when designing any kind of a door. Especially now you go to banquet halls, shopping malls, you see 3 meter high door. So are 3 meters door practical and possible in glass doors? Yes, very much possible. We see in all the shopping malls, especially when we go to any theater, you see the shopping mall is the best example where we have very, very high height door. Now, when selecting the hardware, what is the most important thing? Sandeep ji has already covered this. The life cycle of a product plays a very, very important role. Unfortunately, when I go to buy a floor spring from a market, the seller always tell me, sir, this is SS304. I told him, this is SS304. Is it able to carry 80 kg weight? Is it able to carry 120 kg weight? You will not believe it. That guy was silent. He was not aware. No, sir. He said, I don't know how much weight this door closer or this floor spring can carry. All these things are very, very important. Fire doors require a fire rated hardware. Now, there is a myth that now a lot of fire escape routes, fire doors are now in glass also. So the products are available readily into the market where we can have the evacuation doors also with the glass. Now, see my left hand side doors. In the interest of time, I have make it more pictorial so that we can understand the new technologies which are coming into the glass doors now. Emergency escape door. Now, this is a glass door with a panic bar. This can be a fire rated also. This cannot be a fire rated. So this is the most prominent door which we find in most of the airports. The center is of a frameless glass door with patch fittings. This is the most common technology we see at all kind of doors, and hinge glass door. So this is another door. But frankly speaking, see this, now the glass doors, up till now, the glass was mainly a frameless, but now the framed glass technology has also started. Earlier, this kind of doors was only available in manual swing doors, but now we have an automation on all this kind of doors. Now take an example, this lady is coming from a hospital in a corridor. Now she has someone to keep the door open so that she can cross. Now with the help of an automatic door, the door can automatically open and she can pass. So all these technologies are readily available. Both now this slide is showing about the swing door. This slide is showing about the sliding door. All the airports we go, we enter through an automatic sliding door, manual sliding door. So there's a huge, it is a topic or a subject in itself. Probably 20 minutes is a short time, but yes, I'll try to cover as much. I have 7 more minutes left for me to finish it. So I'll try to finish it in my time frame. See the technology: sliding doors, telescopic sliding doors, sliding folding doors in glass, curved sliding doors. So the glass door, we always have one thing in mind, a normal frameless glass door. But see, from the technology being evolved from a frameless glass door, it has now go to different parameters. Revolving doors are also of glass doors. So one can have any kind of a door in a building with this revolving door. One of the most best advantage of using a revolving door is they are never open, they are never closed. So they will never allow the outside energy, outside heat to enter inside the building. To be very true with you, the concept of revolving door started in Europe, Germany and US, where there were very high cold winds, the wind pressure is very high, and they didn't want to spoil the air conditioning heating system of inside the building. So that was a concept, because the moment you open a swing or sliding door, immediately someone opens the door, the wind pressure of outside goes inside the building and thermal efficiency of the building goes for a toss. So there the concept of revolving door started. But in India, where there is a lot of heat environment, frankly speaking, when you use a sliding door or a swing door inside the building, the moment you enter inside any of the mall, you need to put an air curtain. So all these are actually kind of a deterrent to the technology. Revolving door plays a very, very important role over there. Glass is aggressively used in shower systems. You go to any hotel, you find this. Now residences all have the glass sliding doors, glass shower doors. We need to use the toughened glass door for this because of the safety purpose. The sliding shower systems, here you are seeing a swing door systems in glass, and these are the sliding shower systems. See how the technology is evolving typically. We also have the glass operable system now. Now take an example, you have a hall and you want to divide that with the help of a sliding folding walls. Now these are all the operable sliding glass doors. You have an option to park them in the side and you get a complete clear span. See how the glass technology has evolved. And whereas when we go back, this is a glass wall. Now the glass sliding folding option can go up in the top and you can divide your banquet hall, training room, kind of a meeting room, boardroom into equal parts. So this is how the system is. This is a glass sliding folding system, mainly used in car showrooms, banquet hall, restaurants, training rooms. See this, so this is a kind of a living room, and the lobby, you have an option. This is now right in a park position. You all have a flexibility to open and park them, and you get a complete play area. So there's a lot of flexibility in glass these days. Restroom partitions in glass. So that's how the glass is slowly and steadily evolving in all phases of life. The reason is because aesthetics. People want to see some vibrant. People want to see some color. So the design trends of all the building have drastically changed. Now I'll take just last 2 minutes to end up. Very frankly, when gypsum or wood was used in India or worldwide since 2000, glass took a seat. Glass took a seat. Now it got converted from frameless glass technology to frame glass technology. What are the advantages of frame glass technology is? What are the advantages of frame glass technology is the level of acoustics you get is very high, the neatness, the very fast installation. When fixing a normal glass, you need to cut the floor. This is a framed system. You don't have to cut the door. See this. Now, this is a very common system. You go to any new corporate office, everywhere you see a framed glass system. From frameless glass technology, change over to framed glass technology. Acoustics is one of the most important points when we use these kind of glass doors, because practically the noise will not travel from the gaps which the frameless glass doors have. So this is some point. This is a frameless glass door technology. I was showing you the frameless glass door, which is a very prominent in most of the offices. The whole concept has now changed to the framed glass. See this. Now you get a clear look, you get a better aesthetic. The profile have their own looks and all. So this is something we have these days in a glass technology, and all these products are readily available with most of the companies in India. Most of the companies are manufacturing manual glass sliding door systems. Now see this. Up till now we were seeing the swing doors. This is a sliding door system with a Brooklyn design. These all are the reference images from India only. And this is the automatic glass door with Brooklyn design. So we have an option of manual, automatic. All the options are available. But see how the look and feel of the glass, which was purely frameless up till 2015, converted now slowly and steadily into frame glass. Because of few reasons, acoustic being one of the most prominent reasons. So this is the way glass has evolved in its technology and into the time frame. Slowly and steady, yes. Now, frankly speaking, we are seeing even the change into the shift from the framed also. Now, let's see what comes next. But this is the change in the technology. The end note from my side is whatever good things we build end up building us. That's it from my end. I hope I am able to finish in my time frame.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your nice presentation.
Thank you. Manoj, one
sir,
question only.
Sir.
For Manavji.
Sure, sir.
This is one question that I wish to update the speaker from Dormaka.
Sure,
that ISI marked that floor spring has, in that case, it is must to prescribe weight capacity.
Correct,
and,
sir. Yeah.
What must have been asked is a non-ISI product, where weight capacity must not have been provided.
Right,
I also remember 6315, there is a capacity that it must be able to take, 125 kg of load. So that is the requirement. Of course, we can revise it into categories.
Yeah. We are working with Manojji on the same subject, sir. Yes. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
But one more thing, sir. Yes, most of the time people buy the door by the weight, but width of the door. Take an example, if it's a frameless glass door and the width is 1500. 100% the door will sag. So there are few technical, obviously we need to give education to the industry. You being from the technical side, so you are aware, but take an example, if I am building my house and I need to use it for my own residence, and in residences, people use the big doors. They want a 2 meter opening, 2.5 meter opening. The only problem is if the right product is not used, the door will sag. Then
we can, there are two ways. One is, we can have there are code of practice for installation and all those things.
Right, sir.
For everything. Otherwise, if you don't want to have, we can have one annexure on installation guidelines.
Perfectly
in
fine.
the same specification, installation guidelines.
Sure,
So one thing is, when we are making various specifications, we make one sheet of installation guidelines also along the. So we need not have separate this thing code of practices for that may take time. So
Sure, sir, sure.
it's very easy when we are making. It is the interest of the product manufacturers also.
Agreed,
When
sir.
we make a product specification, we also give the installation guidelines, so that product unnecessarily does not fail because of the bad practices. Not because the product was bad, but the installation itself was not up to the mark. Yes.
Sure, sir. That's a very valid point. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kakar साहब, आप कुछ इसमें बोलना चाहेंगे?
In fact, I am very happy that we included glass doors also in this presentation, along with the wood and the metal. Glass door has made its place in the market. In our work for formulation of standards, we have not been giving attention to glass doors, and we will deliberate on it and include glass as a material for doors and windows consciously. I'm very happy.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Manoj. Some more things have come. One question is, did really reflecting glass avoid trapping heat waves? So, of course, reflecting glass has its own reflection and therefore protection from heat. It will have its own limitation because there are various grades. So this is one question can be answered by Mr. Gulati about the efficiency of reflecting glass. Actually, second is definitely manufacturers can customize all weight and instruction for installation. Okay, that was to the previous one. Okay, so that reflective glass, you just throw some light on.
Yeah, sure, sir. So depending on the glass these days being used, frankly speaking, we all say that Indian market is not. Most of the people I met, they always say that the Indian market, North Indian market, is not meant for glass. The buildings what we see these days, Cyber City, they absorb a lot of heat. If the wrong product is being used, you go to Middle East. All the buildings in Middle East are the glass building, and the temperature there goes up to 55 degrees. Now the glass prices starts from X and goes up to 10X. If we are not using a right product, depending on to the reflection, the heat absorption, thermal insulation, the glass manufacturers have all kind of that variety inside their portfolio, and the right product need to be buy from them. The only misconception is because of the cost saving. If the wrong product is being used, yes, the purpose of the glass, the aesthetics, the heat, thermal efficiency get dissolved. So all kind of right glasses are available into the market, and manufacturers are producing
so therefore certification is very important.
Correct.
The
100%.
glass must read itself about its efficacy and the reflectance value, and then there should be a sheet available, which should say that for this much you purchase this much. In fact, everybody has graded in terms of color also. And
the product data sheets are readily available with all the manufacturers, especially when we go to any government building, airport, railway station. They are very particular. So you go to any building, but yes, sometimes some buildings, yes, compromise the private and all, but in government, frankly speaking, public buildings, they're very, very particular, and test certificates are there for every kind of a glass available with the manufacturer.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Participants में विरान पारिक जी कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं, आप हैं विरान पारिक जी? And one name is two block. He want to say one is Vedi ji. Please ask your question. Okay, although we are.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, बताइए.
Yeah, I'm Shri Vedi. Sir, I am a proud ISI bearer for door closers and floor springs in India. I'm the third generation from my family to be an ISI holder, and I feel very proud and associated with ISI. But the only problem is that हम कितने foreign brands को invite करना चाहते हैं ISI के लिए?
I think this question कितने foreign नहीं है. Any see BIS certification is open to Indian manufacturers as well as to foreign manufacturers. There are two schemes. One scheme to the Indian manufacturers manufacturing any product whatsoever in the India. because that quality requirement is very important for everything. The same quality requirement is equally important when it comes to India from outside. So we would like even whosoever is exporting their material to India should also apply for BIS certification. They should also be checked for the same strict quality norms as we are checking for Indian manufacturers. So that is there. So import-export policy is within the purview of government. Once the import is permitted by the government, the import should be as per the Indian standards. That is the objective of Foreign Manufacturer Certification Scheme of BIS. So I think there should not be any problem with that. Yeah.
So I want to tell you that IS के अंदर type A door closer. So worldwide, I'm the only manufacturer who is manufacturing it, and I'm very proud that I hold an ISI and I'm making all in India. My A to Z, all raw material from screw to packing box, everything is Indian.
What is your brand?
Everite.
Everite. So I visited your first generation as well as second generation.
Yes, sir.
I'm listening to third. I'm listening to third generation now.
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Sir, this door closer is even used in castles of England. क्योंकि ये world में कोई भी नहीं बनाता है, and I'm so proud that this is ISI. But when we went abroad to sell it, they do not approve ISI. और वो proudly बोलते हैं कि हमारे makes India में ISI में approve हो सकते हैं, पर ISI के standards हम approve नहीं करते हैं. This is where we feel.
No. You have not understood. If somebody exports to India, they have to abide by our standard. If you export to their country, you have to abide by their standard. So there is a good parity. You know, that is not a problem.
बिल्कुल सर. But
आपको भी ISI मार्क लेना पड़ रहा है, तो उनको भी लेना पड़ रहा है ना? उनको भी CE मार्क लेना पड़ रहा है, तो आपको भी लेना पड़ रहा है. तो अच्छी पैरिटी है ना, इसमें कोई इशू नहीं है.
पैरिटी की बात नहीं है, पर मैं आपको ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि हम उनको इतनी बड़ी विंडो दे रहे हैं और वो हमें होल भी नहीं देते सर. एक मैन्युफैक्चरर की तरफ से भी सोचना कभी आप. और सर अब पहले क्या होता था, एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटीज बोलते थे कि सिर्फ ISI अप्रूव्ड ही डोर क्लोजर्स लग सकते हैं.
ठीक है.
और इंडिया के अंदर कोई सा भी एयरपोर्ट आप ले लो, आई वुड प्राउडली से कि ISI लगा होगा और शायद मेरा ही ब्रांड लगा होगा. ठीक है. एंड सर अब दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट आप देख लो, आप बॉम्बे एयरपोर्ट देख लो. आई जस्ट वांट टू नो कि मेरा डोर क्लोजर कहाँ डोरमा से कम है. एंड मैं आपको ऐसे ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के नाम बता सकती हूँ जिधर चीफ इंजीनियर्स ने अप्रूव करा कि डोरमा विल बी देयर, एंड आफ्टर 3 months आई रिप्लेस्ड हिम विद माय ISI प्रोडक्ट.
देखिए, we are not discussing.
Hello.
We are not discussing individual cases, because if you make a claim, there will be counter claims, and so it is not the forum. But your area is well taken that we should have a good standard. We should certify it. We should have posed the restriction which is necessary in the interest of quality in the country also. I think that's well taken. Manoj,
I requested all the participants and attendees, please ask question related to the quality of the product, standards के बारे में हम लोग बात करें. और अगर इस तरह के कोई इशू है किसी के पास, तो वो ईमेल कर दे हमें BIS को. वी विल टेक केयर. अदरवाइज ये लंबा चलता जाएगा सेशंस, बिकॉज हम लोग ऑलरेडी लेट हैं. मलिक साहब, श्री MK मलिक साहब, आप हैं CPWD से? शायद इस क्वेश्चन पे उनका कुछ ज्यादा फोकस हो सकता है. मलिक साहब आई थिंक नहीं सुन. हेलो मलिक साहब. मलिक साहब, सर आपने प्रेजेंटेशन देखा है. एक्चुअली यूज मैम, अभी एक मैम आई थी, उनके यूज पे कुछ क्वेश्चंस थे. तो सर जो इंडियन मैन्युफैक्चर हार्डवेयर है ISI वाले, आप लोगों के यहाँ कितने प्रमोट हो रहे हैं सर? हमारी पॉलिसी क्या है CPWD की सर? थोड़ा हम लोग को एनलाइट करें सर.
करीब मैक्सिमम हम लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं सर ऑलरेडी. थोड़े बहुत उसमें से नहीं है तो उसको हम लोग और इंट्रोड्यूस करने की कोशिश करेंगे.
जी सर, क्योंकि BIS की तरफ से भी इनिशिएटिव्स है, वेरी हार्ड, दोनों कमिटी CD11 एंड CD15 काफी हार्ड वर्क कर रही है, और वी आर ऑल्सो इंटेंट की अब हम लोग एट पार या उनसे आगे निकले जो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड है, लाइक हम लोगों ने क्लासिफिकेशन कोड का इनिशिएट कर दिया है, ऑल द प्रोडक्ट रिलेटेड टू द डोर एंड विंडो अब हम लोग परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड जा रहे हैं, ताकि जो मैडम का एक हिडन में क्वेश्चन था कि आई डोंट नो इट इज राइट और रॉन्ग, वो बोल रही कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट वहां सर्टिफाइड नहीं होता है, जिनको पंच साहब ने काफी अच्छे से समझाया गया। हम अगर दूसरे कंट्री में जा रहे हैं तो उनके कोड को फॉलो करना है, वो हमारे कंट्री में आ रहे हैं तो यहाँ के ISI को फॉलो करना है। दिस इज द राइट सिचुएशन, बट इन द मीन वाइल हम लोगों की कमिटी भी काफी हार्ड वर्क कर रही है, एंड हम लोग भी अब एट पार ऑलमोस्ट हो चुके हैं, और हमारे स्टैंडर्ड्स जो हैं अब परफॉर्मेंस बेसिस पे जा रहे हैं बोथ ऑफ दिस कमिटी के लिए। सर एक दो क्वेश्चन और ले लेते हैं, टाइम का शॉर्टेज है। कुलदीप राठौर जी आप हैं?
BIS के जो स्टैंडर्ड्स है सर, हम इनको तो 100% फॉलो करते हैं सर। सिप्रोले में BIS के कोई भी ऐसा प्रोडक्ट नहीं है जो नहीं एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, 100% हम एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं सर। और BIS का स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन है तो सिप्रोले उसको ब्लाइंडली फॉलो करता है सर। वी विल फॉलो ऑल द
सर थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन सर। कुलदीप राठौर जी आप हैं, कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं? 2 block, one of the user participant attendees is there, and Vigan Parikh. आप अपना क्वेश्चन पूछें, टाइम बहुत शॉर्ट चल रहा है, हम लोगों को अब ब्लॉक करना होगा बंद।
हाँ सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन खाली ये था कि डबल डोर जब यूज कर रहे हैं तो उस केस में हार्डवेयर कौन सा मतलब सही रहेगा लॉकिंग के लिए? मोहम्मद शेख साहब ने बताया कि कोई भी सही रहेगा, लेकिन उसमें लॉकिंग में सेफ्टी की वजह से थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम आता है, तो क्या सजेशन है आपके?
सैयद साहब बताइए।
मैं बताता हूँ, बिकॉज बेसिकली क्वेश्चन ये था कि मुझे लॉकिंग कौन सा यूज करना चाहिए। अब डबल डोर तो एक डोर का टाइप है, ओके। अभी इसके लिए हमको जानना ये जरूरी है कि एप्लीकेशन क्या है। फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू से दैट ये इलेक्ट्रिकल रूम है या AH रूम है या कॉरिडोर डोर है, तो उसके हिसाब से उसका लॉकिंग अरेंजमेंट चेंज होता है।
नहीं सर, जैसे
नॉर्मली अगर यूटिलिटी एरिया है तो पीपल फुल हैंडल। So this is what my answer was. So अगर आपका कुछ application clearly है और there is an issue, then probably we can address that. Yeah.
सर जैसे टेरेस में जाने
Because
के लिए वो बनाते हैं डबल
all
डोर।
the hardware are manufactured. Sorry.
डबल डोर में मेरा पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन कपबोर्ड्स वगैरह में है।
Cupboards में?
हाँ।
So we are not talking about cupboard hardware here. We are talking about the door hardware.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if in that case my application is at terrace, we are using the double door system, and at terrace.
Okay. Then I would suggest that you should use a mortise sash lock, क्योंकि उसमें latching arrangement रहता है, तो जो हवा से अगर डोर अगर आप लॉक भी नहीं करें तो एटलीस्ट लैच होके तो रहेगा।
mortise
sash lock कहते हैं, जिसमें लैच और डेड बोल्ट आता है। इनफैक्ट अगर आप देखोगे तो आई डोंट नो, इट्स टू लेट, बट आई विल जस्ट टेक अ मिनट जस्ट टू शेयर द स्क्रीन सो दैट
आप यहाँ साहब whether it's a cupboard lock or a door lock or whether it's a cupboard door or a normal door, आप एक डोर पे you use a tower bolt to lock it onto the frame, and on the second door you can use a lock.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Doors, in case of doors, there is a special category called riveted door locks. They've got ribet sets which are suitable for double doors.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
For the normal door for the terrace, I think you can look at mortise sash lock. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sayyid ji, Garg ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I would request Mr. Abhishek Pal to introduce Sinam Hudson Singh for giving vote of thanks. Please, Mr. Abhishek Pal ji.
Yes. Shri Sinam Hudson Singh, sir, he has done his BTech in civil engineering from NIT Surathkal and currently working as a scientist D in our human resource department in BIS. He is having vast experience in the field, more than 8-year experience in the field of certification and quality control and quality assurance. And apart from that, he is having experience of standardization and administrative works and other administrative works. So I would like to, he is, currently member secretary of CED 15, this Builders Hardware Sectional Committee. And I would like to, I request him to give his vote of thanks to all the participants and all the members. Hudson, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Am I audible?
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Now that we have come to the end of the program, it has been our pleasure to host all the participants, the panelists, the speakers of the BIS webinar on doors, windows, and their hardware. I am thankful to all the participants for attending the event. We have been fortunate to have some of the eminent persons from academia, industry, and utility working in the area of doors, windows, and their associated hardware. I am sure that the participants must have benefited by attending this webinar. I am thankful to the management of BIS for giving Civil Engineering Department the opportunity for organizing this webinar on a grand scale as observed from large number of participants. I am very much thankful to Shri R.K. Kakar, Chairman of Sectional Committee CD 11, and Shri B. Majumdar, Chairman of Sectional Committee CD 15, for delivering their opening remarks and for continuous support and advices which have greatly helped towards the successful completion and organization of this event. My thanks goes to Shri Anil Kapoor, President MES Builders Association of India, and Shri Mario Smith, President UPVC Windows and Door Manufacturers Association, for attending and delivering their addresses in spite of their busy schedule, and also for their association with BIS. I sincerely thank our Deputy Director General, Standardization, Products and Methods, Shri Jayanta Chaudhary, for kindly accepting our invitation and delivering the keynote address. It has been our fortune to find distinguished presence of an extremely busy person in most of our endeavors to improve the state of standardization activities of BIS. I would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Shri B. Majumdar, Chairman CD 15, Shri R.K. Kakar, Chairman CD 11, Professor Mandeep Singh, Head Industrial Design, School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, Dr. Ashok Kumar, Chief Scientist and Head Architecture and Planning Group, CSIR-Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee, Shri M.K. Malik, Chief Engineer, CSQ-C, Central Public Works Department, CPWD, New Delhi, and Shri Anand Nandanwar, Scientist App and Head, Center for Testing and Evaluation of Wood Composites, Centec, Indian Plywood Industries Research and Training Institute, IPRT, Bangalore, for participating in the panel discussion and enlightening us, everyone, about the latest technological advancement and current practice being followed in this field. I'm sure all the participants must have thoroughly enjoyed and benefited by attending this webinar. I am thankful to Shri Pradeep Singh Shekhawat, Scientist Member Secretary of Sectional Committee, CD 11, for giving us an overview of Indian standards on door, windows, and its hardware. I am thankful to the representatives from UPVC Windows and Door Manufacturers Association, Sakti Horman Private Limited, Wooden Door by Slick Board Marketing Services, LPP, DP Garg and Company Private Limited, and Door Makaba Indian Private Limited, for making an excellent presentation and making this webinar a very meaningful, interesting one. An event of this dimension and proportion cannot happen overnight and need meticulous planning and execution and an eye for detail. In this regard, I would like to thank Dr. Manoj Kumar Rajak, Scientist D, Civil Engineering Department, BIS, who has given all his time and energy and left no stone unturned for successful organization and completion of this event. I am thankful to Shri Abhishek Pal, Scientist C, for moderating this event within the set timelines. With his experience in certification and standardized activities, I am sure he has done justice to this event as observed from the culmination of this event successfully. I would like to thank our beloved HOD, Shri Sanjay Pant, who in spite of his ill health, has guided and motivated us at every step for successful completion of this event. As HOD, I am sure he will be waiting for the outcome of this webinar with keenness and high expectations. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not thank and appreciate the unstinted support and contributions from officers and staff of Civil Engineering Department, who in spite of their other urgent engagements have provided all possible logistic support towards organizing this event. I am also thankful to our Administration and ITS Department for rendering us with all possible logistic support towards organization of this event. I am thankful to the UPVC Window and Door Manufacturers Association, New Delhi, and MES Builders Association of New Delhi for enthusiastic support and participation, without which this event would not have seen the light of day. I am very thankful to all the academia, committee members, and industries and participants, either individually or collectively, for their generous support, without which it would not have been possible to organize an event of this magnitude. I am sure that BIS will continue to get generous support from various organizations in the future also. I once again thank everyone whose contribution has made this webinar a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you, Hudson.
Thank you.
Of course, it was a second event. Today we had. We are having a spree of events in different subject areas. I think we'll have to focus on smaller subjects in future, because people want to discuss more in depth. So we can take only hardware, only one type of hardware, only test methods, only one aspects. That will also give us a lot of inputs in terms of drafting the acumen of the people. That's one thing. Secondly, I'm seeing I have committed. I have tried to answer various questions. There might be hundreds of them. I have tried to reply all of them based on my understanding over last more than 3 decades and interaction with all of you. Many of them have asked for a copy of the presentation. I think some people, for them, it is very dear to them, because with a lot of hard work they make, you can convert into a PDF file or whatever way. I will request that if you can share your PPT with the coordinator, maybe UDMA or BIS. UDMA can share in some with some link somewhere, so they can say a webinar on so and so, and these are the PPT which is available in some link, and or mail to the individual email IDs those who participated, so that everybody, they are repeatedly asking for these PPT. Some have to use for educational purposes, some have to even otherwise get enlightened, and because here things are very fast. So I will request UDMA to take care of this one more aspect. That is number one. Number two is that some of them have asked for participation certificate. So it is good to issue them participation certificate with all these logos put in place. It is nice that people have spoken with a lot of enthusiasm now, and people have participated also. Still there are 85 people now listening to the last minute. So they all should get this participation certificate, which I have committed on behalf of all of you. Thank you. Thanks to all of you, all the chairman, the industry association, everybody, all of you will soon meet again, now on actual drafting platform, where we will work and draft and issue the documents. I know things get delayed at BIS because drafting is such a tough job. When we are about to issue the document, we find that it cannot be issued because it will have a lot of problem, some sketches, figures, things, and we again go back to the drawing table and try to improve upon. But once the standard comes, it should be flawless, faultless, and implementable. With that, I once again thank all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sanjay sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we close this session. Thanks to all to attend.
Thank you, everyone. Good day.
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be closes now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.